Lila, could you do a prayer for us?
Good morning, council. Good to see everybody. Our second day of work today, and thank you, Mr. Kendall, for carrying us through the day today. Y'all say your prayers with me, and I'll pray for all the good things in the world to come together for us. Ya tukashila. Tukashila wakata nake yuklan tukashila ahitu wana kina tukashila. Oyate ki owi chayaki te tukashila. We chose an in a walk yet tukashila. Watch it kanka wabla zawashta shte tukashila yakupita. Tukashila omniche wuhapite yuklan. On kiapiena tukashila taku. He won't glock up kila na tukashila washte yakavita. Hechel oyate ki al tukashila iwashte pikte. Dona kujab ne ish dona tukashila al. Dukteni apshni kha tukashila leampe tuki. Ovi chayakina tukashila. Yohila mitakuya ki we chose on the walk ya we chakuk tukasha chil hoya chicha mitakuyas.
We can start with this bill. Mr. Hart is here to give us a report. We were supposed to hear from IHS that the CEO lady is sick, ill today, so she couldn't be with us. So we'll get the floor for Ray and we'll get started. Thank you for coming, Ray. Appreciate it. Did you bring your discretionary account and everything that you're gonna need today?
Oh, shoot, I left it. Morning, council. I want to get back with some of the questions from yesterday. I got with our self-determination, and they said that won't affect the contract whatsoever. So that's just asking for TA. So, and then when that request needs to go from the president's office to the OJS up at the regional, but I'll.
Go ahead.
Thank you for coming, Ray. Would it need to be a motion then, or would it just be a directive?
It'll be just a letter from the president to, well, if you guys want to, you can make that motion too, but,
It just has to be from him to them?
to them, yeah,
Okay.
to OJS. And I'll get you his contact, the individual up at the regional office, his contact information, his name and contact information.
Okay. That was for technical assistance.
Yeah,
Correct.
the motion that was made yesterday.
So I just wanted to get that before.
Chairman can do that. Lila?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Ray. Is that including what we wanted to reach out for to see if they would do?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so I think we probably should make
Sure.
a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to ask Superintendent Hart and President Herman reach out to OJS and ask for technical assistance for law enforcement. Please.
Is there a second? Questions? Lila, all in favor?
Who seconded that?
Jordan.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
1.
Not voting?
0.
Thank you, Jared.
Okay, for this report is based from the month of February. We did have a quarterly meeting with the tribal president and his staff on the 638 contracts. And we did address some of the carryover that's still with those contracts and some issues that needed to be addressed So I think those meetings are very productive with the president and or with the tribe and the BIA. We get a lot of issues ironed out and addressed. I also participated in a town hall meeting with Assistant Secretary Brian Newland. He had a town hall meeting with all the region superintendents. That went very, very good. He's some of the priority, or the main priority that his office is working on is the boarding school initiative that Deb Holland has been, and I believe we all sent you guys an invitation on the next tribal consultation on that boarding school. I believe it was earlier this week or late last week. I also attended the Tribal Chairmen's Association with the BIA's Great Plains Region Budget and Self-Determination meeting on Friday, February 9th. It was a good informative meeting. The regional office budget person did his presentation and spelled out how all the budget is formulated and for the BIA and how it's allocated. Same thing with self-determination. They went over a brief overview of the self-determination process. And they also offered, if we want a one-on-one with either the regional budget officer or the self-determination staff, that they would come down and perform the same training or answer questions too. Also attended the Great Plains Regional Housing Conference. I know Scott reported on that yesterday, but that was a very, very, very good meeting and conference. That was the regional housing coordinators last week of work. So he retired on that Friday, and I believe they appointed or they detailed somebody in that position. Agency operation status, and we're still advertising these positions, the FMO, the Forestry Tech GS5, another Forestry Tech, several Forestry Tech positions, and the GIS under the bill funding that was just advertised here, I believe, a week ago. The following announcements have currently closed and awaiting the selection process. The Forestry Tech, the Wildland Fire Operations Specialist, we made an offer to an individual, but that individual didn't accept or decline it, so we're going to re-advertise that position. Forestry Tech GS9. I believe that's the field specialist, and we didn't get any certs or any applicants on that position. Same thing with that last one. There's no local individuals that applied for that position. And then the following positions are currently awaiting classification and approval to advertise. Rangeland Management Specialist. The request for eligibles is forwarded to the AO on 4/27. Staff support. Indian Services, request for RD approval and recruit sent on May 24th, 2023. The Natural Resource Specialist, there was 2 positions, and we did fill those 2 positions with pathway students that were on board, so those 2 positions are filled. And then we are on the staff support assistant. There may be an individual that's requesting a reassignment for that position within the agency. We did submit a temporary, a detail for an FMO for 120 days. We're waiting for that to come back from HR. Any questions on any of the positions or?
Ben?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, council. Do we still have our people on furlough then? We're still, is there any way, I mean, I know, I think right now with the weather, it's not that, it's still coming down, but this past week we're on a fire danger. Is there any way that we're gonna be getting them in pretty soon or anything like that, you know? I know that's what we need right now is more people reinforced. Coming down from St. Francis to Rosebud here, there's a couple of spot fires that were in there, and also from Mission to Valentine area. So we do have quite a bit of grass that's probably dry now.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna, as soon as we get that detailer, the FMO detailer, have a discussion with them and talk about maybe bringing those individuals back early.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things that I'm looking at is like right now, we got to plan ahead of time before we actually, you guys are looking for help and stuff. And also these positions that are empty, maybe they can come back and get to advance into those positions or something. So
yeah, we make that available to them, and it's just them getting them just to apply for them.
yes, but I think if they're on furlough, I think they are probably suffering from again not working, not getting any funding. I mean, those are tribal members also, both with some tribal members. So I would like to get them back to working as soon as possible because again, it's fire season's coming up here. We had a mild winter from what I can tell, so it's gonna be kind of fuel off for this stuff, I guess. So those are just my concerns, I guess, right now. Thank you.
Jordan?
Yeah, that was kind of the same thing why I asked for the field plans, because I know in the past years, they were only furloughed for about 2 weeks, and then now it's like months. So the reason why I was asking for those field plans is because you think that the FMO or whoever the guy is above them would be able to create additional work for them to do
Sure.
in the off season, right?
Yep.
To keep them on, because my thing was, when they come back to work, I discussed this with you, they're gonna have to pay all that back housing and then their insurance and whatever else back, so they won't get a normal check for a couple months. So it's a big concern for me, and maybe when we get an FMO, then they can adjust those plans to
Sure.
keep them on longer. So we're not having to go 3-4 months with them being furloughed.
And I think that some of that too is not having a food specialist to submit and request for additional funding plans.
Yeah.
So those positions are crucial to have in place right now, just to keep that going. There's other factors that's involved too, but I can't get into it.
I understand, it's just a concern,
Sure. Okay, social services. Okay, the allocation amount was some of this kind of repetitious because it's pretty much the same every month. There were 11 burial assistance applications taken and 5 were approved for the month of February. The 3 were denied for being over income, and 1 was denied based on residency, and 2 were denied for not being enrolled. 5 payments to the funeral homes, both homes in Sandus, were processed this month, totaling $17,522. There were no emergency assistance applications taken for the month of February. Then as of February 29, 2024, the allocation balance is $161,392, with 6 pending payments to the funeral homes. The agency will continue the same application intake process, which will either meet or not meet CFR requirements per applicant. As you can see, this spreadsheet that is attached, February payments were 5 for $17,000. Approved were 5, denied 3. 1 denied because of lack of residency, and 2 were denied for over income. Like I said, there was no emergency assistant applications. Any questions on the social services?
Emily?
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
I just have a small question on the denial. Are those our tribal guidelines or those federal guidelines for the income?
There are the federal.
Thank you.
Because once we deny, then we send notice over to the trust.
Is that tied to the funding? Like, if you have to get the eligibility to even access the funding, is that where there's a?
It's, tied to their income funding, most likely. Or either they're not a resident.
So it's not for all tribal members
Yeah.
with income? Okay, thank you.
Ray, what is that amount that the Bureau gives now for those that qualify?
It's 3,500 plus mileage for the funeral home.
That goes to the.
To the,
funeral home?
yeah, to the funeral home. Okay, facilities. Facility management, O&M programs have received only a limited amount of funding so far. Amount of CR funding, and they are operating on limited purchasing, so if they need something purchased, then it'll be an emergency, or either my office will help them and assist on some of the emergency that's critical for their operation. Building number 63 contract, A21AV00477, Rosebud Sioux Tribe awarded contract. The Rosebud Sioux Tribe has rescinded the RST resolution 2020-33 and are requesting funds previously awarded for the roof repair in the amount of $177,984. Be reprogrammed for construction of a new facility. So we forward that request up to the regional facility manager's office. A roof replacement pre-solicitation meeting for contract 140A0118C0008 was held on February 24th, 2027. A representative from the A&E firm Hermanson and Engineering in the Great Plains Regional Office. They went out to HEDOG to look at the roof, and I believe hopefully they'll be submitting a proposal for that. There has been no activity on the Rosebud Pilot Project quarters. Quarters remediation renovation joint project. The Great Plains Regional Division of Facilities prepared a PR document for a solicitation of the design and remediation. Received an email notification that the project was funded for $293,920. A requisition was completed in FBMS on 11/22/2022 to provide an environmental survey service for quarters on number 100 and 103 located in Rosebud. Assisted with Rosebud Standing Rock HVAC design project built for building 1004, and that's the office in Mission. We're scheduled to get a new HVAC system for the BIA there. The 99% design has been submitted. The Great Plains Region Division of Facilities has a RFP with Trans American Solutions LLC for methamphetamine assessment and cleaning. Rosebud Agencies has 5 units that were assessed on August 9th, 2023. We received the recommendations for remediation at the cost of $71,622. We have requested carryover funding from the Great Plains Regional Office to pay for the costs. Have not received a response yet. Vacancies in government-owned quarters is limited. Right now, the houses that we do have available is slated for the FMO, field specialist, and I believe the superintendent. And those are the only vacancies we have right now, besides the 5 meth houses that need to be remediated. So hopefully we'll get an answer on that funding here soon. We follow the DM, our Departmental Manual 400, and the Rosebud Agency Policy for Government Furnishing Quarters. Currently, the agency has 42 units available for rent. 43 are with BIA employees, 43%. 10% are with BIE, 31% are tribal, like public, like 638 programs. And the 16 is the vacant and the 5 meth. They also did some snow removal on the compounds of Mission and Rosebud as needed. Maintenance staff is continuing to prepare vacant quarters for occupancy. Completed routine maintenance on facilities and quarters as needed. As to facilities, any questions on the facility program? Self-determination, the self-determination specialist our self-determination specialists have been detailed to the regional office, probably going on a year or maybe more. So every 120 days, the employee will get another extension for another 120 days. But she's still assisting the self-determination program here at Rosebud, along with our other individual. Our other individual got detailed up into that position, so there's really no lack of service in the self-determination program. The Pine Ridge Agency Self-Determination Specialist is not yet certified as a level 1 awarding official, so the Rosebud Agency has been assisting with Rosebud and then assisting that individual and trying to get trained and get to the point where she is a certified awarding official, a level 1 awarding official. During the month of February 2024, the awarding official completed 1 new grant award and 18 grant modifications totaling $2,616,451. Like I said, we have another softie that was detailed into the self-determination specialist for 120 days, and that individual just got another 120-day detail into that position. Okay, on January 19, 2024, President Biden signed a third CR, temporarily avoiding a government shutdown. This new measure extends the latter approach from the previous CR, with the first set of appropriation bills expiring on March 1st. The second set of appropriation bills expire on March 8th, included the Interior. All fiscal year tribes should already have their TPA base funds allocated based on their 2023 funding levels, and it was made available under the exception appointment. Again, with the meeting and the housing meeting in Rapid City, we had our self-determination attend that meeting too. Consolidated tribal government programs. On February 7th, 2024, a narrative report was submitted by the Water Resource Program to describe activities performed during the month of January 2024. It will be compiled with other reports to meet the narrative reporting requirements for the 638 contract. On February 9, 2024, the narrative report was submitted by the enrollment program, and again, that will be compiled with the other reports for the reporting requirement for the 638 contract. Same thing with Sichongo Resource Development Program. All those reports will be compiled together based on the requirements for their contract. Tribal courts, on February 6, 2024, a narrative report was submitted and described activities during the month of January 2024, and it will be compiled to meet the narrative reporting requirements. And all these reports were submitted, same thing with RST corrections, road maintenance, and safety of dams. Water resource management projects, and Official award for management project was approved on February 27th. This award adds one-time non-recurring funding in the amount of $208,882. These funds will be used for 3 separate projects. Groundwater monitoring network at $87,000. Surface water stream flow gauging, $46,000, and upgate groundwater data, which is $75,166. The Bear Butte recovery, official modification 1 was approved on February 27th. This modification adds a one-time non-recurring funding in the amount of $150,000 to continue restorative justice at Bear Butte and to oversee the lodge. A new or amended resolution must be submitted to the BIA for incorporation into this grant. So we gotta make sure we get that resolution. I'm not sure if that was submitted yet or.
Fairview?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
was it? Okay. Range unit mapping project, official modification 5 was approved on February 27th. This modification adds one-time non-recurring funding in the amount of $150,490 to continue with this project. A new amended resolution must be submitted to the BIA for incorporate into the grant file. All right, that's self-determination. Any questions for self-determination? Fires, for fire management, for the month of February, we had 4 fires. For the month of February, we're at nationally, we're at the planning level 1. Locally, planning level 1 for national resource allocations. Preparedness, 5 persons are currently on furlough. Fire prevention, field employees are responding to fires, still receiving fire equipment that we got approved when we submitted the critical needs from last fall. So they're still getting equipment. Hazardous fields program, we have 2 individuals that are in the fields program right now. Like I said before, we're trying to hire a 5-person fields crew along with the field specialist. Fields employees bladed field breaks 57 to assist the RST forestry to get to their login site. Received parts from bomb guards to fix some of the equipment that needed repairs. Dispatch starting to do the drug testing, and then last number I heard was, I believe, 27 individuals that took their drug test for the AD program. So I think that number is increasing from previous years. So we're trying to get our AD program back in lines. At least have 1 type 2 crew that we can send out on fire assignments. So that's my goal for this year, anyways, is to get that 1 type 2 crew and possibly a camp crew. If individuals are like former firefighters, individuals still want to be in a fire program, they could look at creating that 10-person camp crew. Fire prevention officer, staff worked on their prevention trailer, worked on the 2024 fire prevention plan, traveled to Oklahoma for some training. Any questions on fire?
Ben?
The fire, is that something that we got to here to get approved, or?
The fire prevention plan.
The plan itself, so does it here get approved?
Yeah, it'll come or get the support from the council.
Okay, so it hasn't been approved yet, or anything?
No, he's still working, yeah. There's one from previous years, so they have to renew them like every 5 to 10 years. So this is a new plan that they're working
But we
on.
haven't approved yet?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. All right, okay,
He's-
just making sure.
He's still working on the plan itself.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, just checking on that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, you know, just get back to, I did send out the Fields mechanical plan and the prescribed fire plan to everybody. So you guys should all have it in your email. No questions, no other questions for fire? Probate. The probate staff are currently researching 24 cases that were closed and have been identified with trust assets in or income from the Great Plains Regional Summary Report. The new system has been implemented, and the Office of Hearings and Appeals have accepted records. Documents were prepared for 26 estates that were final and ready for closing. 18 new deaths were reported to Land Titles and Records Office with preliminary determinations of trust assets. Rosebud Agencies has archived 10 cases this month with the Bureau of Trust Funds Administration, BTFA. We submitted 13 cases to OHA, placed in, also get, or they're placing many calls to get documents. That's their biggest challenge, is getting documents from individuals. So they can move that case forward to the judge. Any questions on probate? Range. Staff completed compliance inspections on 14 range units. Staff also completed 15 management plans and 10 pasturing authorizations. Noxious weed proposal advertised for bid. Sent one overstock letter from a compliance check. Staff completed 4 home site maps, 2 business site maps, and completed a request for community map for realty. Staff attended bi-weekly meetings with solo staff on February 6th. Staff attended RST Land and Natural meetings on 2/5. We're starting to do these bi-weekly meetings with TLE and solo again. They're at the BIA.
Ray, when you do those compliance checks, you just send them out if you get a request or a report, or do they do it on a schedule?
These ones they're doing on a schedule, but we also do that when we do get a complaint too. So if somebody calls into the BIA saying,
How many compliance people you got now?
3.
3 of them?
Yeah.
I didn't think you had that many.
Yeah, we got 2 that were, they were the pathway students, and they just got transferred to Rosebud Agency, and plus the third person does the maps too, so he
When they go out, what all do they look at?
well, they have a form, you know, a compliance check
Oh,
form.
there is a form, I didn't
Yep,
realize that.
yep. TLE has one too, and they're pretty similar as far as the compliance check form, so. Solo too, so all 3 of the organizations their compliance checks are pretty much standard. Staff did complete a check on the trespass on horses in the He Dog and Upper communities. Range staff assisted Sejunga Cove with bison, also assisted realty with trespass issue at Bad Nation, sent TIPO letter for clearance on range unit for the dam repair. Any questions for the range program? Okay, realty. Realties receive answers and receive calls from individuals requesting to sell their trust lands interest to the Rosebud Sioux tribe. Staff will process these sales and gift applications that are submitted to the agency through the TAM system. Staff is working with TLE director and staff on implementing the land purchase utilizing the ILCA Land Acquisition Fund, and will process through the TAM systems. Agency received and is researching requests from the TLE and Sejunga, our solo land office, on various tracts of lands.
Ray? Neat.
Oh, morning.
Thank you for coming.
Gotta put my glasses on.
Maybe in the future, when you do your report, maybe just highlight what's updated.
Okay.
Because what I do is I go back several months.
Sure.
You're repeating what's on
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
report.
that's why I said it's kind
And
of.
it's just kind of
yeah,
irking
yeah.
me, you know?
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if you just highlight what's
Sure.
actually been updated. And there's some
Okay,
updates.
yeah, there's some, there's a
But
little
lot of
bit,
it-
but some of it's
I think
repetitive,
it's a lot
yeah.
of time 'cause it's just, yeah, I'm back in December, October, and you're reading the same.
Yeah, the same thing, yeah.
Just a suggestion.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, like Ray said, a lot of this is repetitive, and I guess for realty, we can just go straight to the, and the feed of trust is pretty much the same too, so, you know, I don't think nothing's changed on the feed of trust since the last reporting. So if anybody has any questions.
Jordan?
Thank you. I guess I just have a question on, how long you, do you anticipate being our acting? I guess I would just prefer you to be our superintendent.
Okay.
And I know
Yeah.
it's been said before,
Mhm.
but just to keep you as acting for 6-7 months now, it's kind of getting frustrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if you have a timeline on that, or, because right now, you're not our actual superintendent,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct, I'm the acting. I'm the deputy superintendent, but
Yeah,
I'm
but
the,
okay.
not the superintendent, yep. I am just, I guess, last I heard, they're working on advertising the position and just waiting for that to be advertised. And I plan on applying for the position
Okay.
once it's advertised, but like I said, you know, HR can, frustrating sometimes to
I know,
work with
it is.
HR. But yeah, that's, and my details up on the 13th,
On this one,
yeah.
next week,
So then I just got another extension on my detail for 120 days, so it's,
after the 13th
Yeah.
again? Okay. Thank you.
yeah. So yeah, I'm just waiting, we're just waiting for that position to be advertised with human resources.
Ray, who selects that position, and somebody in Aberdeen?
Yeah, usually it's the regional director. Makes the
He
selection.
does the selection.
But I believe he sends, or he gets input from the tribe also too, from what I understand.
You would like to stay here?
Huh?
You would like to stay here?
Yep. That's my plan, yeah. Yeah, got some I'll have some competition from Charles's buddy there. Just kidding. But, yeah, that's my plan, so hopefully, see what happens. No, because, like I said, HR's, yeah.
Jordan?
I'm pretty sure they submitted the paperwork, but it has to go through classification. That's the longest part in the whole process is getting it classified, and then, once it comes out of classification, it's pretty fast.
I know in the past, it was kind of done by this body to recommend somebody.
Mhm.
So, I guess to speed up the process, could we just make a motion to recommend that they start the process to advertise right now? I mean, to speed up, I mean, it's gonna be a year
Yeah,
that we
I know.
haven't had an actual, I mean, I'm not saying you're not doing the job, you are, but I would just rather have you have that title.
Sure. Yep, I wouldn't hurt, I don't think, and then send it up to the region,
Okay.
to the RD.
I'll move to, recommend to the VIA office in Aberdeen to start the advertising of the superintendent
Because that's possible.
as soon as possible, yeah.
Immediately?
Yeah, immediately.
Because the last week of June is when I started my details, so that'll be a year for me.
Can we get a second?
Emily.
Emily? Is there a question? Ben? All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
1.
What else you got, Ray?
That's about it. as
That's
far as-
about it?
Yeah.
Is there any questions for the acting superintendent?
I was trying to think if I had any other questions from yesterday besides law enforcement. I don't think so.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the BIA report. Second by Jordan, question by the other Ray. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
1.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
Council, moving down the agenda, do we have anything under communities that we need to deal with? Any motions, community resolutions, anything? Yes, Ben?
I got a quick one here. I brought this up, I think it was last month, I think it was, and I know it was suggested that in the communities, the ones who kept the traders, if that there was a resolution, or requesting a resolution to go through I guess the requesting the resolution from the communities to send to request that their traders be, or how would I put that, the title, or the, what do you call it? The title of the trader houses be turned back over to the communities. So it is a resolution that they wanted from the communities, but I mean, would it be easier for us to just give them the title, the ones that the communities already requested the trader houses from already? Because I mean, the ones that already accepted it, I think it would be easier if we go that way. The reason I say is because we haven't been getting a quorum in our community meeting to actually get a motion passed for that type of deal. So I'm just requesting that it be easier for us just to pass the motion to have the titles be sent to the communities who accepted those trade houses. I mean, I don't know, I'm just kind of that, I don't know, it's been like a couple of months here that we haven't had a meeting in our community because of lack of quorum. So and we are desperately trying to do something with those trailer houses, I guess. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, I guess. So, but I don't know. Question that. Thank you.
Whenever this discussion came up, I think it was prior to you guys being elected, but we had made a motion to have the ones that were broken into be repaired, and that has never happened as well. So we've been waiting. I know that was kind of, we didn't want the titles to be turned over and then the communities have to take on the burden of, like, I know one of Anmolk's, our HVAC system isn't connected to the heat, so it don't work. And that's not our fault, so I think that those need to happen as well, and it's been a year almost for those. Just frustrating that we keep having to make motions here and nobody follows them.
Emily, and then Dara.
Thank you. I just wanted to give a little bit of update. I didn't get to do it last month, and so much has happened since then. I just wanted to give a brief update before we get too far down the line. But prior to kind of all of the, fugitive type law enforcement stuff that had happened recently, our community was experiencing, as others, high volumes of crime and violence and just things like that. And so we've been for the last, I think, 3 months or longer, been working with our local law enforcement department. They've been coming to our community meetings about how we could, address that. And so I just wanted to say that they were very open to our ideas. They came and provided, a sense of safety. They developed, or kind of along with the community, we developed these things called knock and talks. So if there's ongoing complaints, they're to be given to our officers, either myself or one of our community officers, and then we relay those to the PD, or you can call the PD yourself. And as they got, a certain amount, then they would go knock and talk and let people know, these are some complaints, what's going on. But it also let our community know there is visibility from the PD, and it also let the people know, hey, your community is also aware and watching. And so the first round went, I thought, successful, even though there wasn't anybody, apprehended or arrested. I think that our community had a sense of safety after that, even prior to kind of this more recent thing. But I just wanted to give an update because I know there was some like saturation type patrolling and some other things within our community that wasn't made public. But I just want you to know that it was by request of our community, and our community is working actively. We know we can't rely 100% on law enforcement to solve all these issues, and so we've also been developing committees and having our own community conversations about how can we build our community back up, how can we take our community back in a positive way. So I just wanted to give an update, if there's any areas that we can collaborate, because this is all of our land, this is all of our communities. So I think we're open to that as well. So if there's anybody within your communities who just want to talk or have any ideas, then I think we're open to that. But I didn't get a chance to update last month, so I wanted to give that update. Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Do we have any business with the Attorney General? Yesterday they passed out the resolution or the agreement with people considered. Is there anything else we need to do with the Attorney General?
This is that people, some kids were on, for the tax commission needs to be brought back up, but I think Ray's gonna do it. I don't have a copy of it. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know.
Are you looking, Ray?
I'm looking, but I didn't come back to it. I know there was confusion on it with the contract with the AG's office and then with the AG.
You wanna come back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Revisit it again? Okay.
Whenever I find it.
Did you get everything under budget and finance yesterday? Like we needed to do? Did we spend all the money?
It's gone.
We got some,
Dr. George.
Madam Secretary, I think we could probably do that, was that a someone for education means it came through committee if the corrections are in it?
Do you need it? I can go get that one and
Yeah, just so we can get them out of the way, I think those are the only.
I found it.
do you want me to make copies?
Yeah. Well, it's all written. It has a number 78.
I can print mine.
Okay, thank you. Wait for the copies, or is I don't have it?
Which one is copy? Which one is that?
It's for the tax commission. It's it was presented and it got shared with you her motion. It's for the tax commission. There's also a need with assistance in reviewing proposed amendments to Title 11 and implementing a tribal tax on cannabis sales. Whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Tax Commission has received a proposal from Peebles Kibler LLP for legal representation. But it was presented yesterday. And there was confusion because there's a contract with the AG's office as well, so they didn't know if they conflicted, but they're not going to maybe yeah, it won't be conflicted, yeah.
Emily, your
Can I ask
thought?
a question, or do we have to wait?
Just bring it up. Motion to approve 2024-78.
We have a motion on the floor, there's a second. Chris, question by,
I have a question.
oh, go ahead, Lana.
I was gonna question if nobody did, but she has a question.
Okay, Emily?
Thank you. I don't have it in front of me, but yesterday, I think when I was briefly looking through it, there was a lot of language in there about the cannabis commission. And so I was wondering, where that plan is at. I haven't been able to see it. I asked a couple committees, and they said it's still in the works, that you don't have an approved plan. So I was wondering if I could get a copy of the draft one, because I think, I guess some of the questions might be able to be answered as far as how that flows for, long-term funding of it, because I think, I guess I'm not understanding why the tax commission is funding something that's for the hemp commission or for the cannabis commission when they're revenue generating, and I would like to see how that fits into their long-term business plan, for, funding their own legal services through their own commission and not through the tax. So can you explain a little bit why it's coming through the tax commission and not the cannabis commission?
Not on the tax commission, but, I think, they're imposing a tax on cannabis sales, just like as we do with alcohol or anything else. And that's kind of what they're gonna help develop for the tax commissions. Now, the other part of it, I do know is, and it's in the ordinances, paying the tribe the, percentage of the revenue. So then there's that part of it. But, yeah, this one's specifically for tax commission to impose a tax on cannabis. And that's what they're.
Do we have a cannabis plan that's been approved?
There's the ordinance, the cannabis commission, and then that goes through the.
Because I asked
business
Clay
part
if
of
he
it.
was here last time, a couple months ago, and I still haven't seen it. He said it hasn't been done, it's still in draft. And so I was just curious as to why we're making decisions on a plan that isn't even approved.
So the only thing that I know that it hasn't been approved of yet is the tax dollars. So what specifically, whenever, even CBD, right, we're supposed to be able to tax a certain, like a luxury tax on them. And then, we need to come back to this body and request that a portion of those go to like the youth or to roads or to law enforcement. And we have that broken down, but every time we try to meet, it's through economic development, and we need to develop a actual.
So do you guys have a plan like that you could share with the rest of us? that
Yeah, I'll look
are
through
part
my
of it?
email and I'll send it.
Because I've been asking for months, and I just think it's really weird that we're making all these decisions and have building and spending things, and we don't have an approved plan to this body before it was full.
I'll look through my email and I'll send it to you.
Because then I just want to see how, why there's, yeah, anyway, thank you.
Any more discussion? What was the number?
Do we need copies of it?
It was passed out yesterday. If you don't have it, she went to make copies.
Oh, that's what I was asking her. Oh, no, I wasn't you, that was the secretary.
Yeah.
Thank you.
78. Winnie's here, she has, if anyone has any questions.
We have a motion on the floor, still discussing, questions. You need to read that in, right? I just.
It was yesterday.
Yeah. It was ready. It was ready, okay. Okay, you just need to vote then. All in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting? Do we have anything with the community president?
Mr. Chair.
Cowboy?
Can I give Whitney the floor for a second? That's okay with
Sure.
everybody?
Whitney?
Good morning, Tribal Council.
Good morning.
I did hear you have some questions as to kind of the intent of why we were looking at a attorney contract, I guess, for hemp and marijuana. So I just did want to answer a little bit of that or try to address some of that. And I can say that we were kind of given the directive from the tax commission was to develop a ordinance and maybe some taxes on medical marijuana and hemp products. But since we don't have anything in place, we need the assistance to develop, and we would have to coordinate that, obviously with the hemp commission and other entities. So right now, we're kind of blind over it. That's why we needed it. But I just wanted to give you that information. Any questions?
And then it was 10 to 3.
You want it?
questions?
No questions, thank you.
It already passed, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Whitney.
And the other one should be coming any second.
The copies are ready.
Guess we can move along till that gets here then. The community presidents, did they have anything that needed to come here? Not, we will move along. Economic development. Anything else we need to do there? We did the resolutions yesterday, right? Education committee,
That's that really good one coming now.
the one that's coming goes under education.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we been doing anything with enrollment? Has committee meeting?
Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed.
Okay. Governmental affairs?
No.
I think they've been meeting pretty regular, haven't they? Anything there? Anything with the health board?
Was there
I
anything
just
in the
had that one
file?
question that I sent in a text message, I don't know if you had answered that.
No. Louise is the best.
Judiciary committee, I know they've been meeting pretty active. Anything, Ben?
No, I think we have discussion on a lot of stuff that was happening around the area. Nothing.
No motions or anything that need to come here? Okay.
That discussion of the review was actually I brought up on several of the programs, but yeah, they.
That we voted on yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
so yeah, I just, that's why I asked when they came and presented, so but that was something else. Nothing.
Land and natural, is there any motions or anything else we need to deal with there? We did the resolutions, yeah. Personnel committee, do you have anything that needs to come to the floor?
We have a resolution.
Lila? Okay.
We're looking at moving some things forward, but we haven't been able to have our meetings because we've had council meetings on.
Right.
So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Social service committee? We done one resolution for them, didn't we? Okay. Moving along. SWA. Emily?
Thank you. I don't have a resolution or anything, but I'm not sure of the process, so I'm bringing it up. At our last SWA meeting, we were asked if I could attend the UNIHOP conference at the end of the month, so I'll be going on behalf of SWA. But I also just wanted to ask council if you wanted me to also represent us as we go, and if I could ask for a motion to, since I'm already traveling, to do so, I guess, on behalf of the council. And that's the housing authority.
Where's that at, Emily?
Denver.
Denver.
It's in Denver?
Yep.
Ray, you're moving?
Yeah.
Second.
Second by Jordan, question by Ben. All in favor? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Opposed? 0. Not voting. there.
Can you get me that agenda?
Yes. And then also at our meeting, there's also another travel coming up that usually President Herman or a designee attends. There was a motion made at SWA that if the tribe needs to, we can designate somebody from the board, but understanding that that's up to the president's discretion on who that is. So they just asked that if it's not gonna be the recommendation from the SWA board, which was myself, that that be done kind of by this month so that travel and thing could be set up for, May's, I think it's May or May's meeting. And that's, yes, yeah. So I don't know if that needs a motion or if that can be handled just with the president's office, or I don't know how that goes in the past. Do you know?
Yeah, so when he'll designate, like you, last time it was Sherry, I think, went, so once that happens, then he'll send it to HUD, and then they'll do your travel through there. I don't think it has to come, as long, he just has to do the designee.
Scott
Yeah.
does that, right?
Scott does it, yep.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And I did attend that housing conference along with President Herman and others. I was kind of doing it from the council, but I also, because I'm on the SWA board, spoke a little bit about that. But I gave my kind of verbal report, opinions, I guess, yesterday while the president was giving his, so, thank you.
Emily, who else is on the housing board with you from the council?
Bill.
Oh, Bill, okay, all right.
That's why he shares his minutes with me.
You're a team.
I know. I need one of your minutes.
Ray, was you gonna talk about this resolution?
Tina's fingers.
Jordan. Jordan,
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan, go ahead.
What number was it?
38. It's already been through committee, so it had a number, we were just waiting on Eric's final approval.
What did we do, make some changes to it?
So when, Redco had, I think it went through personnel. Did it go through personnel or was it social services, Lila? This one went through 2 committees. It went education and then we referred it again and then it came.
Economic development?
Yeah, it went through 2 different committees, but that was just,
So it's twice as good then.
Oh, it was that personnel.
yeah. Motion to approve 2024-38.
What's the number, 38?
38.
Okay, we have a motion with the second. Is there any discussion?
I'll start at the 6th whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council has enacted RST Ordinance Number 8005, Section 1, to establish a Rosebud Sioux Tribe Education Committee in order to develop and coordinate all education and education-related programs, and furthermore, in Section 8, duties of the committee, E, to serve in an advisory capacity to the Tribal Council in the development of tribal education policies and legislation. Whereas the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Education Committee recommends RST Tribal Council to recommend Sichunguko, a sub-entity of the Rosebud Economic Development Corporation, REDCO, work with RST Education Department to raise funds in the amount of approximately $6 million to fund Rosetta Stone Lakota Language Development Proposal, a program to teach the Lakota language and developed and hosted on the Rosetta Stone platform. Therefore, be it resolved, the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council approves and adopts the recommendation of the Tribal Economic Development Committee and authorizes Sichunguko, a sub-entity of the Rosebud Economic Development Corporation, REDCO, work with RST Education Department to raise funds in the amount of approximately $6 million to fund the Rosetta Stone Lakota Language Development Proposal. Be it further resolved, the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council authorizes and directs the president or his designated official to sign and execute all applications, contracts, and documents thereof.
Any discussion? Derek, did you have a thought?
Yeah, could you go off the air for a few minutes?
Go off the air.
I thought it was ready.
No.
It's not?
There's, that's what I want to discuss.
Probation Committee. Anything there we need to deal with? No. Good to go. Tech roll?
I think we have anything in this position.
Nothing from tech roll. Moving on down the agenda then. TUC. We re-advertised that, didn't we? Yes. Directorship.
Do we need to put a date on that?
Yeah.
It was for 2 weeks.
It was 14 weeks?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll put it. Thank you.
Lana?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was invited down to the Antelope community to do a report. They've been picking different council reps, and I just wanted to relay a message to council and admin that it was, they had an issue with us not picking a TUC director, and they wanted us to know that, you know, if we hired or interviewed the applicants we did, why wasn't it that we didn't pick anybody? So, and they said by doing that, we're really doing a disservice to our people and the people who come to apply for these positions. And they just wanted us to know that there should have to be somebody there who could have done the job. And because it's such a huge position. So I just wanted to relay that back to everybody here, what their concerns were, and they asked me to do that, so, with that position.
Do we have anything with the veterans? Bill?
Morning. Ben, I will set up the committee up there. There's no resolutions, but they did get through, the proposals they gave for the mobile unit. They're working on that. They're kind of keeping going. They're, staffed positions locally here. I can't remember them all, but one was a navigator, a patient coordinator, a driver. I think it was a fourth one, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. But they're working on that, and then they also have thoughts and plans of maybe somewhere down the road getting a structure built to house that. And we're still kind of talking and checking on things and stuff. So down the road, they'd probably like to maybe address some funding somewhere, or maybe a grant or something to house that. Pretty close to the Veterans Affairs building. And I think the only one thing was at the last meeting, or there was an individual that was wanted to discuss the cemetery, and if was it non-member could be buried there, but that was brought up at the committee and stuff, and they said that basically for their rules they got is tribal member, veterans, and spouse, I think, are the only ones that can be buried out there for the tribal veteran cemetery. So you know, so I don't know if they got back in touch with that individual, but so like for any future reference, that's kind of what it's for. It is what so. And then Orlando's been going to various meetings on behalf of the Veterans Affairs program for conducting business. So other than that, I think that'd be about it. I think. Oh, yeah, I do have some paperwork in here. They're kind of thinking down the roadways if they get the structure built to house the mobile unit. That, like I said, these trailers that are, you know, however they're going to end up, that they would like to have one as like an office space, like put it right beside the structure. Then those individuals that are the navigator, coordinator, driver could all kind of have like an office space to operate out of. And I know way back when they discussed at Elks Camp that they, you know, I gave them the lowdown. You know, I said Elks Camp will be responsible for it if it gets charged to them for everything. So they said, well, no, we'll just turn it back. So we do have our Elks Camp meeting the 12th, I believe. So my thoughts are then is we get in the minutes and a motion made that they could go to Veterans Affairs, because there's no real. There were some ideas, but when it comes to the financing part of it, you know, the community couldn't bear that. So that's kind of be in the works, so that might come back here next month's meeting. And maybe designate that when it does come back, if they could get that there for like some office space, if possible, so. But, other than that, off the top of my head, that's it.
Excuse me, sir.
I guess I need to make a motion to rescind our, is that how it works? A prior motion that was made to give the COVID trailer, the big one in Mission, to the animal shelter. I would like to rescind that motion just due to the fact we do have we have a lot of families in there, and at half the time we're at capacity, and that's a double wide, and there's no way that we can house.
Where is that one located?
Right in front of the big homeless shelter. It's the family shelter right now. Because that house, the blue house is boarded up now. It's condemned, the floor rotted, the bathrooms, it's not livable. So we have,
Will we have to move it then?
no. There was a motion made here at this body a couple months back to designate it as the animal shelter and to give it to the animal shelter, and then we would then in turn take, I would assume, uppercut meats and put it there. But I want to rescind our motion to rescind that and just keep it as the homeless shelter.
Is there a second for that motion? And we'll discuss? Can you second? Someone?
It's gonna die.
Someone want to second that, and then we'll discuss? Michelle, thank you. Okay, Lila, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
When we rescind the motion, do you remember who made the motion?
Kathy did.
Oh, Kathy did, okay. So does that person have to be the one to rescind? They don't? Okay.
Unless it's in the same meeting.
It's in the what?
In the same meeting.
Oh, okay.
Any more discussion? Emily, your thought?
I just have a question on, you mentioned maybe another trailer. Do we have like a COVID trailer or something that's not being used to offer in exchange for that?
Well, they were trying to give us uppercut meats, and that's only one of the small ones.
What? In exchange for that?
Yeah, and then they wanted the big one so they could house their vets there.
Oh, so there already is a trailer? I'm confused.
Designated for the animal shelter?
Yeah.
Yes, uppercut meat. I think Dwight presented it, and they said that they would donate it to the animal shelter.
And
And that, those are 3 bedrooms. And then that big one that's in Mission right now in front of the big homeless shelter, that one's like 4 or 5 with 2 bathrooms.
then it wouldn't have to be moved, it's already there?
Yep, it's already in there.
Thank you.
That could go to a large family then, right? That many bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're done discussing, we need a question. Ray? All in favor of the motion?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Opposed?
I'm opposing it because I think Kathy should probably be here.
Yeah. Same.
Can I withdraw mine? No vote.
I'll get back on 8.
Not voting?
1, 2, 3, 3. Any opposed? Opposed?
Oh.
You guys might as well just re-vote.
Yeah.
I want to oppose.
Revoted? Okay. Okay, back it up. All in favor of the motion?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Opposed?
Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Not voting?
1.
There we go.
I just want to say something. I'm not trying to be rude to her, but I just have a lot of homeless people in my community, and it gets frustrating that we were going to give that away to some vets that come in when the casino eats that bill anytime that they come in. But yet we have all of our people saying that they're full all the time, and I'm always having to call Skyla and ask her to make room. So whenever those things come here, I'm asking you guys to stand strong with it. I mean, those vets come, 2-3 times a year? They can stay out to the casino for that amount of time. Our people don't need to be homeless all the time. We have a girl out here that's saying that she don't have nowhere to go. That frustrates me.
Council, we're to the bottom of our agenda, but yesterday we had a discussion. I think we were going to ask law enforcement to come down for some discussion. Are we still going to do that? Violet?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just I have two things real quick. On what we just passed, I really think that I myself, I always want to do things in the best way possible for everybody involved, and it's really hard when we don't get to hear from both sides. So that's the reason why I opposed it. Secondly, yesterday I asked for time to talk about this letter from the state. It's very, very important, and I think maybe we can, that's when Scott said we'd do it today, give some time to it, and we can ask Steve and Ivor to come down. Yesterday there was a rumor, as soon as we left here, that I made a motion to fire Steve and Ivor, me and Dara, and that was untrue. So I wanted to put it out there. That's not what happened. That's not true. And we're just trying to get some help for our law enforcement, and that comes with having them come down and talk with them. Thank you.
We'll have them come down. Can we take 10 minutes and we'll get a hold of them, have them come down, and we can have our discussion? Take 10? Yes. Steve and I move it on, and the girls move back.
Taking 10.
warmer now? What are you gonna?
That was my question too. I was gonna ask that. There's people in already.
I thought it was gonna be used like immediately and year round is what I thought. Now we only have one of it. I don't know what our.
This is your fault.
I was the only one that got punked out, right?
You don't wanna be in there.
Why not? Why not?
Are we still in the air?
Yeah. Oh, you got it.
Sorry, Tina. Tina's doing it right now.
Council will get back in order. We asked, yesterday we had some discussion about this letter from the governor's office, and then some discussion on law enforcement, police department, and we decided, or you guys decided yesterday to try to get some technical help for them, right? Through the motion we did?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was our discussion. Then they decided that we should have Ivor and Steve come down and talk a little bit about the police department, see if we had any questions, any thoughts, any ways to help them if we can. So that's why we're here today. We'll go ahead and get started. Maybe, Steve, would you want to come up and kind of address council and let them know what's going on and how things are? And
So I guess, good morning, council. I guess I'm a little upset, and I really don't understand how a program or even individuals can be brought up without being called and brought down here. Now, I was blindsided yesterday, get down here, you and Ivor blew into a big old ugly thing. And then I talked to Scott and Wayne and Lila last night, and that wasn't even the case. And no employee should have to be put through that. No program. As far as the technical assistance, at the end of the day, we're gonna do what you guys asked us to do. We're the authority. If you want the bureau to come down here and give us technical assistance, then we're gonna do it. I mean, we don't have a choice. We don't really have a say. But what is the technical assistance that you guys are asking from us to get to that? Please, can I finish first?
All right, try to answer you.
Structurally, the police department is in good standing. And we haven't had a review for 3 years. So when we talked to the bureau last month or the month before, we asked them, can you guys come down and do a review? Because I'm really pushing for more funding. Bringing down a higher ranking person like a chief or a lieutenant or whatever has been brought up, I mean, the structural part of it is okay. Where we have funding or have problem is with funding and personnel. And that's something, and I know you've heard it because I've been down here several times since you've been on council. I asked for help. I did a proposal to ARPA. I asked this body for help for funding so that I can get more officers up there. My proposal wasn't even looked at all. I barged into the ARPA meeting when not any other councilman was even allowed in that meeting. This body didn't even know what was going on with ARPA funds. It was controlled by 5 people, 6 people. So I barged into that meeting and I made my point, okay, we're gonna take it to council, and then council took over and it just got pushed to the wayside. But yes, we need all kinds of help. We should have 80 officers here. Easily. We should have 15 investigators up there. There's no reason why one investigator is taking 40 calls a year, 40 cases a year per person. There's no reason for it. So I used up my avenue through this body and I started talking to congressional people and asking them for help. I went to the state for their judicial meeting up there and I asked them for help. Any kind of assistance. And the answer that I always get, and I know those of you who have gone to Washington get the same response. You guys have all of these arrests. Why aren't you utilizing your court and your corrections? Why are these people recycled? And every time I come down here, I keep saying it's repeat offenders in every community, and it is. But law enforcement's always been an easy out. I've been here a long time. Heck, I probably chewed out Ivor and Bob. We requested the Bureau down here before, when HPPG was going on. And what happened? Brought Bureau officials down here. They don't answer to this body. They don't answer to the chairman. They don't answer to anybody up there. They're going to take orders from District 1, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't answer to anybody. They're the government. And the council ended up kicking them out of here. And the guy that was down here ended up getting fired. But we just need help. We need more funding and we need more officers. There's no reason why every officer, every community shouldn't have an officer in there. No reason at all. But we've never got an increase. We did a recontracting package in 2020 or 21 and we asked for more officers. And the response we got back from the Bureau was about this long, telling us no. Wasn't even a full letter on stipulating anything that we asked for. It was just a straight up no. But I think with the meetings that we're having with the congressionals, I think they're putting pressure too on the president. The president wrote a declaration trying to give tribes attention for law enforcement, public safety, and health. The other thing, you guys are trying to contract the hospital. What does that say? Down the road. What does that say for this body or for our tribe? You're questioning your own stuff when you want a contract. Because you're questioning our contract. When you bring the Bureau in here, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I asked for.
The other thing, that letter that the governor put out, that's a whole way bigger picture. Way bigger picture. You got all Republicans in the state who are continuously trying to get at your sovereign immunity and your jurisdiction. That MOU that we did with the Marshal Service, I was looking at the bigger picture. And I told you guys I didn't want to do a MOA or a MOU with the state of any kind. I wanted to be proactive with that MOU and do something before she put something like that out. Because now what's she going to say? Oh, see, now the council's asking the Bureau to come in. They can't handle it down there, but they're harboring murderers and rapists and felons who they don't have any control over. She already said that she doesn't have any jurisdiction here. She doesn't have any authority here. But I've known for a long time, the government is the one that gave us tribal government. They gave us sovereignty. And that time is going to be coming that they're going to go after it. All we got to do is pull your federal funding. Then what are we going to do? That's 85% of your employment. And that same percentage is the same amount of money that this tribe receives, including your guys' salary. That can happen. And I think if Trump gets in there, that's the stance that they're going to take. Or make us a 280 state, and then what happens? You can stand on your treaties, but treaties have been broken too. And when you have ignorant people in there, like the governor and this president that might be coming, anything can happen. But I don't blame you guys for doing that MOU. Blame me. I'm the one that brought it down here. I said that at every community that I went to. I went to 4 now. I know you guys are catching heck. I told you guys you were going to. But there's other ways. I mean, it's done, it's over with. Resend it. Do one that's gonna work. There's clauses in the Constitution for us that we can use that can't be changed. That gives the chairman that authority. Is the chairman going to be strong enough to take that stance when it comes down to it? Those are the questions that I have. But I would like to ask the Bureau, what kind of technical assistance can you approve or help with? Because structurally, we're fine. Can the Bureau send more officers down here to help? Because I got an email from District 1 asking if we could send officers to their agencies. And I told them no, because of this reason that I'm talking about. We don't even have enough officers to cover here. And it's not a Rosebud problem, and it's not a Bureau problem. Winter, Valentine, Pennington County, they're all short-staffed. It's a nationwide problem. Nobody wants to be a cop anymore. It's too dangerous. I think Daryl had, I'm done.
Here, go ahead, then we'll get Jordan.
All right, hello, yeah, I'm the one that asked for the help yesterday. I asked for that help because we're in dire straits here. And structurally, you can say that, but the Oyate doesn't see that. The Oyate feels that our safety and welfare is jeopardized every day.
It is.
And when we had these people who were hiding out here for heinous crimes, and we were allowing them through our law and order codes, and there was nothing that you as police officers could do,
Nope.
That's why we're asking. Because it feels like you guys cannot help us. And so if we want to ask a government agency to do their responsibility
Point of order.
for us,
Point of order.
Just let her-
then
let her-
I am going to ask for that
That's
for
fine.
these people.
That's fine.
And for you too, because a chief and a lieutenant does administrative work. They come in and they look at every angle of that PD and they find what needs to be done, the weaks and the cons and pros, everything. They go through it. That's their job.
Didn't I do that?
I'm not saying you didn't, but we need help because obviously we're in a position where our people aren't getting help. Last Friday, I called the PD 9 times to get help from my community, while a white cop sat across the street. And yes, I know that you guys are short-staffed, but there's no reason that that should even be happening when an officer from the next community was cruising his personal vehicle back and forth. He waited till Rosebud got there, then he pulled in. By then, our community didn't even want to see him there. So if we're in need of help, who are you to come in front of this council and tell us that we did it wrong? We're crying for help, and you're telling us we did it wrong.
I never
Who,
you
he?
did it wrong.
Well, what are you saying then?
I'm
Because
saying
everything
what-
you just told us that we shouldn't have did an MOU. And then you contradicted yourself and said, yeah, because this is what I wanted you guys to do. Well, what did you want us to do?
I never said not do a MOU. I'm the one that brought it down here.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I brought all. I
And
brought
no one's
three
here to
different
argue.
scenarios.
Point
No
of
one asked
order.
to fire Ivor or you. We asked for help to help Ivor and you.
Let me ask. In that situation, if there's a state board, what can your agency do if there's nothing in place?
Well, you know what?
Here.
I
I'm
watched
asking
the
him.
police. You told us you dropped a killer off in White River where he murdered, the murdered boy was from. And then he went to Sunrise and hid out for a year. That told my community that you don't care about our kids that get murdered.
Those are two different people.
It doesn't matter. They still killed. Crime is crime.
You didn't
It doesn't
drop
matter
him.
which level it is. A crime is a crime.
You
Our
did-
people deserve justice.
He didn't get dropped off over there. He went from our custody to their custody.
Unchi picked him up.
Voluntarily. The one that's in Sunrise, the new chief picked him up, and he's still out.
Well, we asked for help. I did. Because I speak for a lot of elders and I speak for children who don't get that help, who have to wait, who have to watch people lay
Time's
their
up.
bludgeoned.
Time's up.
Time is up.
I could say the same thing about this body. I mean, I've come down here time and time again, Dara. Time and time again. I've never heard you stand up and give any kind of support to us. Ever. I've come down here, every time I come down here, I ask for help. Every single time. That's the first thing I do. I tell you guys, I need help. Funding. A drug task force. I don't even have a drug task force because there's so many complaints about calls for service, just like you mentioned. So I pulled them off and put them back on patrol so that we could have a bigger staff. So I don't have a drug task force right now. That's what I proposed in that ARPA funding. I asked for 8 task force officers.
I think that we don't, like, I think that we support you guys. I think that we were just thinking of like what you're saying, like you're asking for additional help and we're trying to cut back on that. Because I see how much work you guys do and I'm friends with a couple cops. So I know, I understand, I was a cop, I know. I mean, it's frustrating, I get it, but I don't want you guys to feel like you don't have support from this body because you do. It's just whenever our hands feel tied and it kind of starts panicking, then that's kind of what happens, right? I mean, you sat here, you made decisions too. It's just now we need to move forward together, right? And I don't, like I said, I don't want you guys to come here and thinking that we're after your jobs.
So
That's not what it is. What kind of help do you need? You
We need
need
more officers.
You keep saying that, but how do we do that? How do we support that?
Even if we got money, there's no guarantee that we're gonna even be able to fill those positions because nobody is applying. Nobody wants to work here. Shit, after that motion yesterday, there's people who wanna leave now.
It was actually
Because
just
we
a
didn't
motion
even-
today.
We didn't even get to come down here and speak our piece. We were never asked, it was just a decision made out of haste.
Well, it's for just TA, it's just additional
So
officers,
what
that's
is
all
the
we're asking for.
technical assistance? We need
Additional
help with
officers.
patrol. That's what we need help with. But I bet you guys can't give it. Cause you're short staffed too. Yeah, send them down, we'll take the help.
That's all I was just asking for, is just giving them a chance, and I'm wanting you guys to know that it's
So
not personal.
I'll mention this.
But it's not personal, Steve, that's what I'm trying to get at, okay?
That's
You're-
fine. I'm
You
a
guys
big-
are mad right now, and I
I'm a
can feel
big
it.
boy and I can
Okay,
handle
well,
it and I know how.
I don't want you guys to come down here and think it's personal, because that's not what it is.
So this is what I'm gonna ask for. I know that the Bureau has received millions of dollars for drug agency. And last year you had so much carryover that I got a call, a personal call, asking if we wanted $50,000 from the carryover. So I want the Bureau, not the one that you have assigned here, because he's never here, but I want a task force here. I want a BIA drug task force here. That's what I want. If I can't get that help here, that's the technical assistance that I want, because that's the biggest problem that we have here. All of these crimes, everybody that gets put in jail, all the IHS stuff is all drug related. So I'm asking you, if you're gonna give technical assistance, that's what I'm asking for. That's the biggest hindrance that we have in all programs. Court, prosecutors, public defenders, ACF, JDC. And I'm saying JDC because we got a lot of kids that are on drugs too. DSS, I could throw DSS in there, spotted tail crisis, all of these programs are all affected by meth. So they want to give technical assistance, that's what I'm asking for. Get our people some counseling, sexual assaults, all of that stuff. Bring that technical assistance down here. That's where we need help. These people all fall through the cracks. And it just continuously is repetitive with the same people. Bring our courthouse some staff. But you know what? Prosecutors are gonna need help. ACF's gonna need help, because if we bring more people here, they're all gonna need more funding.
We asked for 2 people.
We need at least 8. You have problems up there, she has problems down there, we have, of course, the bigger communities have multiple areas with drugs. Every community is affected by drugs.
Go ahead, Lila, then I got Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Ivor and Steve, for coming to council. I wanted them here because this is what we need to focus on. Yelling at each other and treating each other disrespectfully is not who we are.
Well, I'm not gonna let a man talk to me
Point
like
of
that.
order, point of order.
So we need to come in an agreement, and this is what I want to talk about. This affects all of us. This letter from Ms. Noel, she's reaching out, asking us if she can come here or if we want to go visit her. This is huge, and this is something that, to me, I said, we got a love letter from the state. The very first one I ever received with the tribe. But, you know, our sovereignty is something that, you know, I know each and every one of us take to heart. And, you know, I do. And I think, you know, what we have to do is we have to come together and look at these things. And I myself, I'll tell you, I will not go to Pier. I will not. This is where I'm from, this is where I belong, and this is where I need to be. But I will support any legislation that we have to send over there. And do we want to, like he said, he just explained everything he needs up there. We know the problems. We're trying to help our law enforcement. It is really scary because we are in times of drugs, violence, you know, all of that. And I think, you know, this is something that I think the treaty needs to come here and talk with us about too. Because she's asking to help, but the way I know things, and I was warned by elders, and I was always told, is when we ask for something, we better be prepared because something might come of it. But at some point here, we don't have the answers. I don't have the answers, but what we can do is make some strong legislation based on our treaties and based on our needs as the communities and as a tribe. Take that up there, and you know, maybe our president can take it up there, I don't know. But this letter that was issued to us, the people need to know. They need to know that she reached out to us and that she said she'd be helping us. So that's my point, is that we gotta come together and do the best we can to get that support. We all know the problems, we all know what we're facing,
but it's our jobs to get something together and stand on it and be strong and ask. Last night, I'm gonna borrow a minute. At my community meeting, you know, it's tough. It's really tough. But I think that, you know, we're all strong people. We're a prideful people. It hurts to see our people hurting. It hurts to see what's happening. And the only thing we can do, everybody, is come together. And the people, you know, they come to us and they tell us what's going on and what they need. But let's do it together and let's find a way to try to get more help. You know, I don't know where that rumor came from yesterday, but that was totally false. And, you know, stuff like that, you know, this body here and you guys, we gotta work together. And we wanna get you more help, Steve. That's what we're trying to do, Ivor. We wanna get you guys more help because you know what you guys are doing is pretty tough, but look at, I mean, every day, I know there's not enough staff. You're understaffed. You have, he explained it last night to us how they take their calls. And I know each call's emergency, but he told us and how they prioritize them. So, you know, it's good to know that, you know, we gotta find a way to find these solutions. And I know Dusty Johnson talked passionately about getting us help, and they're waking up there. So, you know, and I'm really sorry that ARPA thing you went, maybe we should look at it again and see what we have left. That should have never happened. So, thank you.
I have Jordan and then Ben.
Thank you. Before everybody starts, when you guys have an issue of a concern, you're to address the chairman about it, not at each other. That's where your concerns are supposed to the chairman. That was what I was told. So just so that you guys know, instead of addressing each other like that, you address the chairman. Thank you. Thank you.
So I know you and I have talked, Steve, about the emergency of meth, right? So in 2014, the tribe declared a state of emergency on methamphetamine. And I guess I don't understand why we never use that and push forward, because we sit here and like we talk about all these problems, but yeah, we're like, there's no solutions to it. We declared something, just like our IHS lawsuit. We declare all these things and we move forward with them, but then we don't ever get anything in return. So how do we use that?
So we utilize it in grants when we apply for grants, but in the ARPA proposal that I did attach that state of emergency. But it's getting people to, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, council needs to have a meeting and prioritize what's actually going on here and where we need help, and does somebody need a building or does somebody need counseling? Do we need help in the communities with more officers? Those are things that you guys need to decide. I'm looking at, Dara mentioned I should be thinking outside the box, and I've been, and it's a really slow process to even change your contract, to change titles in the contract. So I do have a way to get 2 more additional officers here through the contract, and that's what I'm gonna take to personnel to change that stuff and start that process. With the 2 school resource officers that we have, those officers don't cost the PD nothing because that's all reimbursed. So to put 2 additional patrol officers in there utilizing that funding, that's gonna give me 2 additional officers. But you know, that's really petty that we have to go through, the tribe has to go through that extreme. But that's what we have to do. We have to make do with what we have and do the best that we can because we're just not getting the funding. And as far as grants go, there's not much grants out there for law enforcement. We've been watching their services and kind of focused on sexual assaults in child sexual assaults, we're gonna go after another grant for, sexual assault victims for adults now, but there's really no grant funding out there. All of it's for health and human services, but, that's up to those program directors to decide if they wanna go after those fundings or not. We're working with, right now, with the court, Ivor, aren't they trying to get a drug task force officer through one of their grants?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
And the other one is White Buffalo Cat. They're the other one that's trying to help through grant through their office to get us help. So we are reaching out to get this help, but it's a slow process, and grants ain't guaranteed. I mean, you have to write, if you don't write for them well enough, you're not gonna score high enough and you're not gonna get selected. So, that's kind of where we're at with, our funding. But technical assistance, we'll take it. If they can bring bodies down here and help us, we'll take it there.
Ben, you have a thought?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you guys for coming out. I guess for me, the reason why I supported this, especially with the technical assistance part of it, is, the situation that happened in the past 2 weeks, and also the situation that's happening now. I'm kind of concerned because, why wasn't this done last year? Why wasn't it done before? Now, I said you can't do anything to them, but again, it's a whole different aspect for me. And I guess those are the concerns that I have, is that why are we doing something now? Why haven't you done it before? Now, of course, they said, well, we didn't have resources, or we don't have the funding, or we couldn't just do anything to them. But I mean, that's what you're telling me right now. That's what you're telling the body here, is that we don't have the funding, so there's no more officers, we can't do anything because there's no law that they broke or something here, So to me, when the state had a big profile case going on, now we're running around for them. Now we're gonna go and help on, do what we can. So I was like, well, and then you told us that there was another person who was here for a whole year. Now I'm kind of concerned to say, wow, he's here for a whole year, but we couldn't touch him, So I'm like, wow, we're own people here. But those are the things I had, but these are some issues
there because you're the chairman of judiciary, and I addressed this there.
Yes, I did.
And I addressed it at council the last time when I brought this down. I brought all of those documents that were passed out to you guys last year.
I was not.
It don't matter. The point is, you're asking why did I wait till last minute? I didn't. I addressed this when we had that problem last year. It went through the committee. It was forwarded up to council. Why it wasn't this year, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to go through what you guys just went through and get back. I have no idea, but I did address it.
Yeah. But those are my concerns on it. And also the other thing too is that we see things out there as far as like, we need officers. You say nobody wants to work here. I mean, there's a lot of young people who are coming up in this deal. They want to see that, but there's no avenue for them to come here. So I mean, there's no advertisement. I mean, yeah, you got to have funding in order to advertise. That's great, but then this body should actually be able to get that funding for you to advertise. But I don't see no advertisement out there. We just seen a couple of new officers, I think, but I don't see that advertised. That was one of the biggest things I could see, because how else is our community members, tribal members, able to get a job through the police department? Right now, it's a big issue up there too, because they say you guys just pick and choose who you guys want. But I mean, to me, I'm like, no, that shouldn't happen that way. That's not the way that works, So to me, those are the things I look at right now. It's the bigger picture of what the community and the public sees. And to me, if we get more people in there involved, it's putting it out there at the more applicants or more jobs out there. I think it'll help out. But if we're not doing it and we're just saying, well, we need more funding, what funding we have? And you're saying there's not enough funding out there, but law enforcement, there should be a lot of funding out there. There should be a lot of funding out there. You just got to go out there and get it. You have to go out there and pick and choose to see where it's at. To me, I don't know. It was really concerning to me when this issue came about, when there was the schools were shut down and everything to that effect. I mean, and you did tell me that, you can pay, it's up to you guys. I don't think that was reassuring enough as you as I guess the chief administrator to give them that type of identity. They should say, hey, we're looking into it, we're getting this thing going. Just like the public statement that came up. That was another big thing that, we still didn't have it. That was a big issue for me. So again, these are things that I see, and I want to address it, being that we're here. Now, of course, again, I wasn't here last year, but of course, the people that came out last year didn't tell me what was going on. So if you were doing this before too, I know it's repetitive, I apologize for that, because it's just repetitive. I'm here to do something and make sure something's done about it. So again, I'm gonna make sure that if you guys are supposed to be getting some funding, getting some more law enforcement officers, let's do that. I'm gonna make sure this body sees that so we can do that. So that way we can be asking the DIA for assistance. So again, these are things that, you know, kind of bother me, kind of give me kind of insight. I mean, I see the bigger picture, but we just have to find out, what are you guys gonna be able to do once we get all this funding here? Because, well, you know, we don't have that much cops, we don't have that much people here, nobody wants to do this thing. It's always a negative thing, and that shouldn't be negative. We should say, yeah, we're gonna go out there and do what we can, you know, we're gonna get out there and do what we possibly can. So those are my concerns right now. That's the reason why I said I think that we do need somebody in here to do this. So that's why I'm for this and making sure. I'm glad you guys are here, but you guys can, you know, question this stuff too, though, but it's the public too that's out there that's looking at this stuff. So that's just one thing.
I guess on the employment part of it, there's no picking and choosing. We have applicants from time to time, but our backgrounds are extensive. And if they have a domestic abuse or assault on their background, they're not gonna pass their background. You can't hire them. And that really affects a lot of the younger people. We really try to pull from ACF or JDC if we have an individual that applies from over there, because they already have basically a cursory background. It's not as extensive as ours, but they already have their foot in the door with that, passing that background, that cursory background for their department.
I heard that you have some thoughts to share.
Yeah, I guess, I want to be doing my job if I didn't speak. Good afternoon, thanks for calling us down here. I just have a couple things that I kind of want to talk about, and I guess it's a path to get where we need to be. Yesterday, I was kind of upset, not mad at individuals, but I guess upset at the process. I'm always upset at the process of the unknown, and people shouldn't have to work like that. I think we do this probably every 4 years or every 5 years. We have to walk on the eggshells as far as, well, am I going to be at work tomorrow? Am I going to be at work next week? One thing that we need to talk about, I guess, whenever we talk about technical assistance, one thing that as legislators, what you guys should be doing is, rather than asking for technical assistance, be part of the process. Be part of the process as far as increasing our funding on a yearly basis. Our funding's been the same since 1993. The Bureau, the only stats that they say every year that we get, well, we give you additional monies, one-time funding. And that's not even to employ any officer for 1 year. But that's the stats that they take. Two, if you're gonna ask for technical assistance, what you should do is be asking for more additional officers to the program, to the contract. Right now, the contract is at 24 officers. 24 officers. Now, we can ask for all this money, but if the contract only says we can hire 24 officers, then it does no good. Every year, legislation from Washington, D.C. gets passed as far as increasing funding to Indian country. What I've seen ever since I've been in this administrative, and even before this, and if you don't see it, then something's wrong, is that whenever they pass additional funding for Indian country, guess what happens? It goes to the Bureau. And the only thing I see in the Bureau is where they create a position, or they create positions within the region district offices to get top heavy. None of that money ever gets filtered down here. We had recontracting negotiations in 2019. Our funding's been 3.6 since 1993. Not ever once did they ever say, hey, change of times, change of
Gas
prices, change of anything. And still that money's never filtered. They come down here, then we don't get no extra money. But yet they come down here and nitpick the program as far as funding, as far as our vehicles, as far as our equipment. But they don't give no money for that. It's the tribe's responsibility and to find that money. It's our responsibility to find that money. Never once, whenever they're supposed to be part of technical assistance, where's that at? Never once has the Bureau, ever since I've been at the PD, never once has the BI ever given any money for vehicles, radios, or any of our equipment. It was this body, it was this tribe that paid for all that. But they'll come down, they'll do a review and say, this ain't good enough. They'll nitpick the stuff that the tribe buys when they shouldn't even be nitpicking anything that they don't buy. The Bureau can't even police the people that they serve.
They can't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna legitimately say that. They can't police the tribes that they serve. Go to these other tribes that the Bureau's on. Get their thoughts on the BIA. Guarantee you that it's not gonna be pretty. I guarantee you. That's why Fort Thompson and Lower Brule are trying to work the process as far as getting their own police departments too, because they're not happy with the Bureau. I guess the technical, rather than ask for technical, this is ask the Bureau for extra money. Ask the Bureau for adding numbers to our contract. Also, we can bring in 20 officers from the Bureau. They can come down here, they can help out. But your law enforcement is only as good as your judicial system. We add all these cops and we make all these arrests, and you have our court system how it is, our prosecutor system being overworked. I'm not bashing them. They need help. Their caseload is so big that they try to doctor as much as they can to get people prosecuted as best as they can, so that process continues. Because guess what? It's not stopping. Crime is not stopping here. And I've always said it. Our judicial system is only good as our court systems, our juvenile court, our jails, and our PD. It's all hand in hand. And that's pretty much my deal. And I remain humble. I'm a little frustrated at the process, but Ray, my cousin Ray, but he hears my frustration all the time, and I'm not scared to say it to him. But it's a quick, I guess not a quick fix, but we know what we gotta do. Yeah, we're not perfect up there, we're not. We're lacking in some areas, but guess what? Everything, big picture, is money. Money. But
I wanted to mention one thing prior to Ivor's stuff. The technical assistance is for the Bureau, requesting to the Bureau, but it's not Ray. It's not Ray who's gonna be giving.
yeah, no, I didn't.
It's gonna be District 1. That's who you guys are gonna put the request to. I know you're probably gonna ask Ray, but it's District 1 who you're gonna be working with. And they, like, you can send people down here, they aren't gonna use our reporting system. They have their own, they're gonna report to whoever their higher ups are. They ain't gonna report to us. Those are the downfalls, but having more bodies here, sure, that's gonna help. Maybe people probably ain't gonna like it, but I think maybe it needs to be done. But there's downfalls to it as well, and they ain't gonna give me eight task force officers either.
The one thing I forgot before I got put off subject and got kind of fired up a little bit, but when we did this recontracting negotiation, Sherry was there. I don't know what other council people were there, but Sherry was there. And the thing that I took from that is they scoffed at us. And they basically told us, we're not going to give you that money because we don't have it, which is a lie. It's a lie. They have that money. They have unlimited money. But yeah, we were scoffed at, and that contract negotiation went nowhere. And we were talking upon just to the wall. It was just a process because we have to do that every year. We have to do that. But basically what it was just a process. They ran through it. They were with the knowledge that they weren't going to increase anything. Basically scoffed us. No respect.
I have Jordan, Lyra, and then
I guess, so out of the 24 officers we're allowed, how many do we have on staff?
23.
Okay. And then, so prior, there was a motion made, I want to say about a year ago, I think it was made by Wayne, that when the tribe gets additional 638 funding, that it comes directly to the tribe. It doesn't go to area, so my motion is to reaffirm that. Right.
Motion from last year?
Yep, and it was when the tribe gets additional 638 funding, it comes directly to the programs, not area office. And then have our attorney draft a letter saying, requesting that as well and sending it. I know that was supposed to have been done, I want to say about a year ago.
Ray, you second?
Yep, I'll start.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on it? Chris, you have a thought?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, thank you guys for coming out. Actually, I think I'm part of it, but I think going forward, I think I requested that from you guys too, just like a month ago.
What's that?
To have, to be friendly, what she was referring, having, all this money. Instead of going to you guys, having people down to the 68 programs, even, the leftover money that you guys have as a borough, to go to the 68 programs. But I remember you told me that it can be done with that. You told us actually it could be done with that, that's what.
They said they didn't receive it.
Yeah.
So that's why they couldn't get it.
And that's what I requested the last 10 years.
10 years, yeah, our AO is still working on that report, but as soon as she gets it done, then I'll send it to the whole council.
Okay, so then what took so long with theirs from last year then? Like,
I wasn't here last year when that was.
Need a question? Chris? All in favor of the motion?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
1.
Motion carried.
I got a quick question, Chairman.
Then I got Lila.
Yeah,
and then-
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our public is listening and they're, kind of chiming in and asking questions. So I have one here that was sent to me, from a, community member. And she said that at one time they had this, program that came to combat, gangs and drugs and stuff. And she said that, it may have been trained people, but it really helped the communities. And
You're the one that brought that group here.
and she said that if they could find a grant or something to at least help with the youth, that would be good. So people are trying to help. They're trying to help us. But I remember when that was effective, and it was good. Yeah, the diversion, that's exactly what it was. And, yeah, so I think that really came and it helped. And I want to look at the good things we have here. We have 24 certified officers. That's a good deal. And I want to look at how we can expand and go beyond what we have here. And, you know, we're all united in this, and I'm glad, because we deserve the best. And our officers, they should have the best, because there are weapons out there. That really worries me. You know, there's guns. I mean, there's a lot of things you guys can't tell us, but we as community people, we know how dangerous it is. And, you know, looking at that in the Bureau, they have a trust responsibility to us. And that's what we're trying to do, is make them help us. And, you know, when you go back, maybe you can put something together on, like you just told us, and put it in writing, Ivor, and, you know, just tweak it and, you know, get it down here, and then we can work with that. So at least we can take something with us. But this letter is, I don't really trust, but I think we need to just have our power is in our paperwork. So once we get that, you know, bring something down here and we can, and I want to see your proposal that you guys brought to ARPA. Do you still have that?
Ray sent it.
I just sent it.
Oh, okay, great. We need to look at that.
I want to mention that person that you're talking about, you worked with that group, to help bring a girl that was abducted from here in
Oh, yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
It was that group, but the council is the one that actually brought, made a motion, they paid for his salary,
Yeah.
and they brought him in
Yeah.
at that time.
What was his name?
I don't remember, I just asked.
He's from Rapid City.
Yeah, he helped us,
And I
so,
can't remember his name.
yeah.
He
We
was
need
a
something.
gang guy.
He was a gang
I
expert.
think he retired though.
Oh, yeah, he probably did right now.
I have Ben and then Jordan.
Thanks, Jim. I just wanted to reflect on that motion I was coming here, because it wasn't followed through from last year. I would like somebody to follow up on that, months, like at the end of the month. So we have a lot of things that are going through the tribe, you know, legally. that we need to stay on top of. So if this thing hadn't gotten passed last year, I would like somebody to walk it through kind of whatever, to see where that's going. Otherwise, it's gonna end up, not being what it is. So again, to me, getting on this council, that's one of the biggest things I wanna see, is I wanna see some action. I don't wanna say, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna take care of this, and after we're done here, if nothing happens, So to me, I wanna make sure that this is getting done, and having somebody at least follow it through to see where it's at. Because otherwise, it's not gonna happen, nothing's gonna happen. We'll be in the same boat 6 months from now. Weather's gonna be nice, people are gonna be running around again, so we need things that are gonna help in our community, with the safety of our elders, our youth, everything to that effect. So I would like somebody to be, I guess, walking after you to find out where that's at, what it's gonna be, how it's gonna take part. Because I mean, it was passed last year, we just reiterated again. I don't like to see that happen, because we have that already enough. Where we first came on council, there's a lot of councilors that are still here that said, we had that motion passed last year, 2 years ago, and nothing been done about it. So to me, now we have to take action. So those are my biggest, takeaways from this, make sure we have action on it. So make sure we pursue that, rather than just say, hey, it's something that will be done by the council. Because like I said, a motion didn't happen, I guess, last year for the issue with the traders and stuff. So, but those are things that I want to make sure here, again, too, we're not against you guys, we're trying to help you guys out. My biggest thing is, the public's watching here. We gotta have some reassurance from us here as a body, and also from law enforcement, to say, hey, we're gonna help you guys out. We're gonna make sure our safety here on the reservation is great. So I'm gonna make sure you guys are letting them know that, to say, we're gonna, otherwise we can say, hey, well, we gotta wait for the BIA, we gotta wait for, we are a people ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to police ourselves up. So if we're not doing that, then, Jesus, we're just as bad. So I want to make sure that, the public knows and are aware of it, that we're doing what we can to make sure their safety is our best interest right now. So with you guys being here, that's what I would like to see, you guys to say, well, yeah, we're going to do it again to make sure we're safe here.
So I made a statement at Spring Creek Community Meeting last night, and my statement was, our department is only as good as your community, because we need their help just as much as they need ours. And we ain't gonna get anything done if nobody wants to speak. Nobody wants to come forward and be the one that speaks up. It came from somebody who wanted to call in anonymous, and they wanted the scenario of how that works through dispatch if they call in anonymous. But people need to start speaking up. Armley community, I was really, really happy to go over there. They straight up said, we want to take our community back. We're tired of this now. And they gave us motions, and we followed through with their motions. Getting to your comment on follow-up on that, when I sat on council, I heard directors say that. I brought this up and it never got passed, and the whole point of staggered terms is continuity, so that doesn't happen. But there's really no training process to follow through with what was passed on from the last council to you guys. You guys should be updated on all of the committee stuff that is sitting on the table, so it doesn't sit there idle. But I felt myself feeling like that director that I heard say that, because I did do that last year, and I did call committee members, when are you bringing this up, when are you bringing this up? And I felt myself just, I don't care. I just let it go. So I let it go, and it sat here until a situation came up, and then it turned into a big, ugly mess. Not just in our face, but in your guys' faces. So continuity is really a big thing. When you pass the torch, I guess, from one council to another, that needs to be there. There needs to be education for the new ones that come in, because a lot of people don't know. I mean, like, you're brand new, Chris is brand new, Charles is brand new. You guys probably had no clue the reason for a second, third, or first, second, and a question. Those are questions that I didn't know when I first got on council, so I understand being a first-time council person, not understanding even the process. There was no education here. But I had really good teachers. There was a lot of old people that gave you quick learning experience, and they were smart people.
Jordan? Emily?
So I guess I just have a request that the chairman, when he gets back, that he works with GFP director and those that are certified game wardens, that they assist when they can on the down seasons of hunting. So does that need to be a motion or is it just a request?
Let's put it in motion.
Okay. Did you get it, Kimmy?
Yeah.
Is there time? Need a question?
What was, can we reread it?
To have the chairman work with the game fish and park director, and then those game wardens that are certified to assist our police department. They can arrest and they can cite, so.
I always thought that the game fishing park had more power than our tribal officers because they're federal officers, so that'd be a good idea.
Did we get a question? Check. All in favor of the motion?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting?
0.
Emily?
Thank you. Thank you all for coming down. Like I told Steve yesterday at another meeting, seen it a lot lately, so I just wanted to also reiterate something I said earlier in case you weren't listening, but I know our community has been very appreciative of the law enforcement and I guess the relationships that kind of need to be built there, so I just wanted to start there. I also wanted to start by letting council know that at our last community meeting that we had with law enforcement, there was a motion or resolution, I can't remember the name, for me to support any type of funding opportunities for our law enforcement officers. So moving forward, if that ever comes up, if there is opportunity, just know that I am directed by my community to vote in favor of that, so funding for those officers and for that department. So along those lines, I know Ray had sent the ARPA one that you mentioned, but could you also share with us the plan that you used in your renegotiation? Because I have a lot of experience with planning, development, and then funding those plans. And it's a lot more successful if we have the big picture, not what we only have a small pot of funds, so let's make the best of it. So I'd like to see what you guys, your full big picture. I know you said something about 80 officers, 15 investigators. I hope those types of budgets and plan is in there, so I'd like to see that. And then can you talk a little bit about what your plans are for recruitment and retention? Because I know that you mentioned, like, even if everything in the perfect world was fully funded, we still are having a hard time, not only here nationwide, with retention and recruitment. So that's another question I have. And I'm just going to ask all of them because I have a couple of have to use my 3 minutes here. And then another question I have is, shoot, I'll let you answer that one, and we'll give you my other question.
So on the reconstruction package, that was council body that helped us with that. They wanted to be a part of it. So we worked with the council approved it, went through committee, and then some of the judiciary committee members came to the recontracting meeting with us. And not all of them came down. It was a TV thing, but they were part of the meeting. And I guess I was kind of taken aback by the responses that we got from them, because you kind of get that feeling already that that's just part of the process. You ain't get no more money, no matter what you say. And that's kind of why I really wanted to meet with the congressionals. The avenue that I wanted to take with the congressionals, and it seems to be working with letters and stuff, is start auditing the bureau. Find out how much carryover they have per year. Take a look how much these little bitty police departments like Lower Rural and Crow Creek get versus what we have here, and the calls for service that they have versus ours. Take a look at their equipment. Take a look at how much overtime them officers get versus our tribal, because that's, I don't know if Melissa gets it, but that's one of the things we get knocked on a lot is our overtime. And there's no way around it. The situation she was talking about in Swift Bear last week, it was really busy. It was first of the month. Iver had to come out and help, but we had to bring extra people in, and that's all overtime, but we don't have a choice. If we're getting blown out of the water and calls for service, we're gonna have to bring people in. But that doesn't just affect us. That affects those guys. that affects the prosecutor's office, that affects the courthouse, all of those. So it's not just our recontracting package that you have to take a look at. It's their recontracting package, it's the courthouses. I mean, they're already understaffed. All of the programs, they're all understaffed.
So back to my question, can you provide us your plan that you said had the
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
And then my question that I actually asked was, can you provide a little bit of insight into your plan on officer retention and recruitment? And
It's
then I have
it's
another
really hard
question.
here. Our plan is to try to get a pension here. That's where we lose most of our officers. We applied for a grant for pension for all first responders, and we didn't get that grant. So we came to budget and finance, and it's something that they want to push for the whole tribe. That's something that you guys have to decide. They want to carry on forth with that plan, but that is the biggest reason why we can't keep people here, is there's no kind of pension plan for our department. Number one reason.
So we don't have a retention or recruitment plan basically?
Nope.
Is that something that you can work on? Because you yourself said that even if you were fully funded, if you can't recruit or retain that, it's going to be.
So I guess what I would like to
Can I make a
do,
motion to ask the director of law enforcement department to develop some kind of retention or recruitment plan or the funds, any kind of funds, but just in general?
You're moving, Ally?
Yes.
To develop what?
A retention and recruitment plan for new officers and staff for the law enforcement department?
I could do that.
Is there a second to Emily's motion? Ben, you're seconding. Need a question? Deirdre, all in favor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Is there a timeline?
1.
When do you want it, or who do you want me to take it to judiciary, or what do you want me to do with it?
I'd like it as soon as possible. Can you give us an idea of how soon that could be? And I'm happy to put that on the
Couple weeks.
Okay, maybe I'll give them a month.
Sure.
Ben?
Do you just want me to disperse that to the council, or judiciary, or a chairman, or?
I think council, but I think it probably has to go through a committee to get approval, so maybe all council, but through judiciary.
I can do that.
Thank you. I did have one more, oh my gosh, go ahead if you have a question, I'll come back to that. I lost my spot.
I know, judiciary were asking for, your kind of contracts with over also too, so you haven't still received yet, so. I
How
mean-
come the secretary's office don't have it? You guys pass it here, anything that's passed here should be in the secretary's office. You guys should be able to get that anytime.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't do it, I was first one here too, I'm not sure.
Council passes it by resolution.
Also, if there's no objection, I'd like to get the order for our.
And I never got to ask.
Sure.
Hi, good afternoon, council. I just wanted to add on a couple things. First of all, good afternoon again. I'm the Melissa Eaglebear, the jail administrator. I think this is a really very important discussion you guys are having. Some of the things that were said, I just kind of want to re-emphasize them. I've been a jail administrator and working in law enforcement for going on 15 years now, and so one of the biggest concerns and issues that I face, not daily, but in the day-to-day functions as a tribal administrator, is working with the BIA. And it's not just a local agency, it's OJS. And local agency has just as much authority and power too, because they do have an awarding official there, they do have a voice, and they do have funding. OJS is also the oversight. But the issue that I run into is they don't want to listen to me. They don't want to, they don't want any communication unless it's on their terms. I've seen the power this body has over 15 years. And actually, I just want to say, I think Steve was on council when he told them.
I made the motion.
He told OJS to leave this room because they were so disrespectful to our tribal, we're just a tribal program. That's how they see us. And I dedicated my life to being just a tribal, right? And the recruitment stuff, and I just wanted to add to that, we lose people to BIA because they pay better. They have amazing, beautiful homes. They have manicured lawns, right? We're struggling. We don't even pay what they pay. It's hard to get people here. It's really hard. We're the highest turnover for the tribe probably, aside from Head Start. And it's difficult. But I've seen it here myself that this body has so much power to put your foot down and say, enough is enough, BIA. Right after you kicked them out that time, the head of OJS came the very next day. Very next day. He wanted to know why Rosebud had issues. And I thought, wow, how powerful. How powerful. I've never seen this man in all the years working in law enforcement, but counsel got them there. And so he was listening. I think that was in 2011. Tim LaPointe came here before because our local agency wasn't listening to these concerns. I need you guys, and I've said this many times, as only a tribal administrator, I need you guys. You guys are so powerful. The president, they only want to hear from him. It has to be an official letter for anything. I can't even negotiate, so for him to get them at a table or a Zoom meeting to negotiate, we don't get to negotiate. We don't. I give them a list every year and this is what we want. They don't listen. They probably literally shred it. And they give us our AFAs and said, here, this is what you're going to do. And if you don't do this stuff, you don't get this done, we're gonna come down on you. That's what they do. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for these guys. So if I could plead with you guys to support, I know for us, for me, I need you guys. I need you to stand up and be my voice because they don't listen. And I will work and dedicate myself to that place and make sure we're in compliance. And there was a motion made yesterday and I reached out to Kathy and Scott. We actually did have a review. You guys have it in your emails. Our last review report came out a couple months ago. So it's in there. But yeah, they came down with 60 some items and said, you will do X, Y, and Z, and if you don't, you know, you're doing wrong. They don't give money. They haven't paid for inmate food for years, but they have a trust responsibility to do that. Who has paid for it? We have. I have come to you guys and said, please help me, and you have. So the tribe has covered deficient areas that BIA is refusing to do. So please, that's all I'm asking is that you guys start supporting and listening. Have these conversations and listen to our concerns. But thank you guys.
I have Lila, then Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Melissa. And, I just wanted to say that, you know, we got a battle for what we deserve. And this body, it's time we stood up to them. It's time, you know, we played hardball. Because that's the only way we get things done. And if they don't want to, they have to help us. And you know, since I sat here, like what, 6 years ago, we still have those same issues. And food, with her program, you know, the tribe always covered everything. And that's wrong. You know, we need to build them, we need to tell them this, and that's what we're trying to do here. You know, I want to ask them all this stuff, you know. The people, we want to have our own, but how do we sustain that with all those deficiencies that they threw at us? You know, and we have the best, and I want better, but they need to step up to the plate. You know, it's like nobody's doing anything, so they still get to do what they want, but they are still obligated to these programs, to you guys. And we need to reach out to them and tell them, hey, you know, this isn't working. You know, I want to look at that. And those reviews, you know what, they're gonna ding a lot, but for me, it's a tool to, you know, go back at them. to go back at them. Well, you know why we have this problem? Because you don't give us the money, you know? And I'm upset that this proposal did not go through ARPA. Why? That, you know, could have really helped. And did you get any help from ARPA?
Oh, like your.
Like for
yeah,
your
that-
food? Yeah, that, when
the
they had a
building
committee here?
In 2020.
Yeah.
They did the addition.
Oh, okay. So, you know, when they're asking for help, you know, these are good discussions. We're communicating, and that's what we need. Because I want to know what you guys need help with. I'm here because of this, what you guys do. This body needs to get, you know, pull it together and go at them. And that's exactly what we want. And that was the discussion yesterday, and somehow it got crazy, you know. Dara, we were talking about that, and, you know, we want to get some help. But you know what? If they're going to do this, then they have obligations too. And that's, you know, the point that we're trying to make here is, you know what? You guys need the help. But we want it done how we want it, because we live here. We know what goes on. So that's what, you know, we need the Bureau to step up and, you know, hold them accountable. Thank you.
I don't know how extensive her reports are, but our reports, they're extensive, and they don't benefit anybody but the government. They don't benefit us. And we have some of the best stats in Indian country, but we don't benefit from them, but the feds do. They take our stats, and that's what they use to get their funding.
Thank you. And, I remember what my other questions were, so I just also want to make a statement real quickly, like, I know I talk fast and I have all these ideas or whatever, but I also just don't want it to come across that I don't support, because I definitely support, and the questions that I'm asking are because I want to support veterans. And I've worked within the tribe for over a decade, and I know how you get locked into what the current funding says, and you get locked into your current scopes, and that's what you're stuck with. But what I know can happen is if we expand beyond that and look at what the full need is, look at what our full big picture is, say what that full is, even if it's, you know, millions of dollars over budget, so what? Because then we can diversify the funding. We talk about being locked into these budgets and whatever, but we can diversify. We can look at not only getting an increase of those base things, but we can also diversify into all these other options. And I also am mentioning that because I really appreciate that Steve mentioned the need of having meetings and planning, because I've been screaming this at every meeting we have, that we do need to have more conversations, whether it's officially in the body, or whether it's our communities, or whether it's on these task force, or whatever. We need to have this communication and these conversations. Because the only way that any resource is going to help us, the only way that any funding is going to help us, is if we know what we want and how to fix it. And we can't do that when we're just trying to piecemeal these little things together. And I know from like grants and, you know, that type of fundraising world, they call it the low-hanging fruit. What do you have that's shovel ready? What can we get out there? And in my mind, that's Washichu. That's going after that. You're the fat taker because you're only taking the good and the fast and the quick and the easy to get you that quick buck. But our people deserve more, and our people and our land need more as far as having that bigger vision, so that you can complement, all of these people can complement. And when I asked about this early on, I was told something like, oh, it sounds good to get in a circle and hold hands or something like that. But I'm not trying to rehash all of our trauma. I'm not trying to rehash all the stuff we all know what's going on. I'm trying to take that, acknowledge it, and move it towards a solution-based conversation. Thank you. So I don't know if I need to make a motion, because I've said it so many other times, but we need to have a group of all of these individuals, these entities, these people, us, including all of the workers and staff, because that's where our expertise lies. That's where our years of experience lies. So we might have a vision, but that also needs to be complemented by the vision of our directors and whatever. And so that's why I asked you for your plan of retention and for, you know, anything like that, because it needs to be from people who work that every day. They need to know the processes. And then that needs to be, you know, meshed with our vision for what we see for our people, and then move forward and get those pieces funded and get all that done. But I just wanted to say that because sometimes I feel like I come across like, oh, I could do it better, or I have better ideas, and that's not the case. In my experience working, we have so much expertise and we have so much potential right here. We just need to be able to get it into, you know, an organized way of seeing it, and then focus on the good and clear up the bad. not keep everybody moving along regardless.
No, I think, that's really good because I already did that plan and turned it in, prior. So it's not a problem, I just gotta dig it out and, bring it up to speed. But with the ARPA proposal, I guess my whole point of doing that for the tribe is to let the tribe know, just because we have a contractual agreement with the Bureau, it doesn't mean all law enforcement has to be under that contract. The tribe can hire their own. And that's what my plan was with this ARPA. It doesn't have to be attached to the contract. The tribe can hire and fund these positions. They're just gonna have to get on the tribe's insurance, because anybody under the contract is covered by the federal tort claim. If they're not funded under the contract, then the tribe has to pick that up. And I already started that process at one time when the tribe gave us, Lila, you was on council back then, you guys gave us 500,000 that we never did see or utilize. But that's the self-governance. When you sit here, that's what you always shoot for, is to not be so enabled by the government in every aspect. Just because it's free money, the tribe could give some too. They could have gave some of that ARPA money and funded their own task force, controlled by you guys. You guys seen that big of a problem in these communities? Those would have been tribal employees that only answered to this body, not BIA. So I think maybe that's another avenue that we can try to take if the tribe wants to go that route. But it doesn't just have to be us. I mean, it could be, you guys could help her too. You could help JDC, prosecutor's office. But I wanted to say one more thing. Somebody's got to pay attention to these grants that programs get. Man, we gave $460,000 away gave back last month. I just found out yesterday that the tribe gave back 900,000, 900 and some thousand. That's horrible. If they can't utilize it or it's inactive, find a program that can utilize that and reassign it. It's that simple. But we don't want to be giving money back all the time. Those are put in for and brought here for a purpose. And if that director ain't utilizing that money in the capacity that they're, reassign it to a different program. We got a whole bunch of programs that can utilize the help. But somebody needs to pay attention to the grants that we get.
Emily and Ben?
Thank you. I had a question on the motion that was made regarding technical assistance, because I also heard another request I used from our staff here as far as like a drug task force. And so whether or not that's the BIA task force, whether or not that's ours, I think we're in consensus that it's needed. So would we need a separate motion or something to set that in place to either get the actual like people staff or the funding staff or detailed staff, or maybe we have to have an MOU or MOA in place so that the Steve's department has the oversight over these detailed officers. Like, I'm not sure what, but after all of this, I'm hearing not only from our discussions here, but from several of my own community that a drug task force is needed almost immediately. And so if there's something that we can do right now to start that process, I'd like to do that, but I'm just not sure what that would be.
Ben, you thought?
Thanks, Governor, Chairman here. So, I mean, we all gotta work together to try to solve these problems. So again, I guess for me, the simplest one is, where am I gonna get that contract for the contract for the VA? Where am I gonna get that from?
Oh, I'll give it to you.
You're gonna give it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, again.
So do you want the recontracting package that we submitted or the contract that we're operating under now?
By the contract,
Or both of them?
judiciary is one that's happy question too,
Yeah.
so I guess.
So that's the contract
Yeah,
that we're operating.
the chairman of the judiciary, I want to make sure we get that, but the other thing too is that, we're having problems even with the ARPA part of it, to get the funding, the audit from that part of it. We made a motion yesterday to get that, I think it's the audit, I think that was supposed to get in from yesterday, so, to me, it's like we're kind of pulling on our own people to try to get issue our finances, I guess, what's going on with that. So if we're able to get more, or find out how much money so many people have, then we can actually start putting that to where it's needed, especially in law enforcement. So right now, I just want to make that clear that if we're working together, we need to make sure that every entity is helping out and doing the best that they can to help out other organizations. So to me, here, being on this body, that's what I would like to see. And again, too, just asking for simple things, it shouldn't be that hard, but I would like to see that from the ARPA part of it too. So that's why I think yesterday, the motion that was made, I would like to see where that's going to, because that's going to come up again, maybe the next couple of months here. So I hear where you're coming from, to get the funding, and then, start getting all these programs, or even the law enforcement fitted with a lot more officers. I think that's where we're going. So again, too, I would like to see building within anyway. So I want to see a program out there with our younger generation to start looking towards, either law enforcement or legal career or something to that effect. So that's in the making for me. So that's the only comment I had, is that just to make sure we are working together, getting necessary information that we need to help pursue these endeavors that we're trying to reach for, and let's help each other out. So thank you.
So I've been to majority of the communities at their request. In just about every community meeting that I went to, they asked why the tribe didn't get on board with Ogallala's lawsuit against DOJ. And I guess what I was told by counsel was that they didn't want to get involved because they didn't want to lose that communication with congressional people, and if OST wins, we would get that money anyway. But I think our tribe could go a step further. In that's up to you guys, but I really don't know how to answer that. I know it's put on me because it's our police department. But I was contacted when they filed that lawsuit by OST's chief, and he asked if we would be willing to go along with them and file this lawsuit because both reses are comparable. And I sent it to Lloyd, and I think Lloyd advised you guys not to for those reasons, but maybe you need to rethink that and go that route. I think that's an option that you guys have. Either joining with them or starting our own here. And it wouldn't be just for law enforcement, but I think the tribe as a whole, in our funding, needs to be dealt with. I mean, it's been spoken of time and time all day here with all of the programs. Courthouse, prosecutors, public defenders, the 2 correctional facilities, and law enforcement. But I think it's time that maybe at least discuss it. And this was discussed before the new council got in, and I think it needs to be relooked at and see if there's a way, is it gonna make that lawsuit from OST stronger, or is it gonna hurt us? I think those are questions that your attorneys can answer for you, but I think it's time, if you really want to change in our funding sources, then those are the drastic things that we're gonna have to do as a tribe.
Milo?
Thank you. One of the big concerns that I have, and I've been really watching the law enforcement issues that are on TV with other tribes, we're broken apart, and we used to do things as a set of hands, as the council fires. And I really think that, maybe Rosebud can take the lead on this or something, but we need to reach out to our other relatives and just maybe possibly spearhead something with our other tribes, because right now, I was watching TV, there was Crow Creek, Lower Brule, and Pine Ridge. They talked about them on TV. And, you know, and they basically speak for us because that's the same issues that we have. But communication is so important. And if we do things together and as a collaborative, you know, 7 council fires, we always need to remember that because we need each other to have that power to do things in a good way, collectively. And, you know, we are a people, but we shouldn't be that, you know, split apart like that. And that's what kind of made me feel insecure about this. We need to get together with our relatives. Kana chingsaki lana takuni chingta mata idaya washte iwon lakarumpoti. And treaty, you know, those things didn't go away. They're still here. And we have to, you know, did they all get these letters too? I'm kind of curious about that. Because if she's gonna go after and ask us, it should be all of us, not just certain tribes. And that's what bothers me is we shouldn't be split apart. And I'm glad that, you know, you talk to the other chiefs, you know, the other ones, the people who work. Do that. You know, I encourage you because I'm sure everybody's going through the same thing. But when we come together as a band, the Ocheti Shakomi, it just makes it that much stronger. And maybe we can talk to Phil about that, but that's what we need. And that right there is the biggest backing that they can't deny that. So, you know, if you guys get a chance to, I would encourage you to visit with the other people. You know, you can visit with Ivan or who runs the jail over there, you know, because it's a lot for you guys. And I'm proud of my people. I'm proud of having our own because a lot of times, you know, people don't know how it is here. And it's kids that are doing so much and yet they're already getting a record. And that's hard for you guys to see. So, you know, I want you to know I appreciate you
Time's
know,
up.
you guys. Thank you.
Ray?
Yeah, if there's no objections, I'd like to get to the floor for one of my community members.
Sure. Sharon, how are you?
Good, good. I see your conversation here today, so I wanted to come and give my 2 cents. Mr. Denoyer gets quite a few phone calls from me on a daily. Back in the day, there was, well, there's quite a few things that are going on out in the communities. And when we sat here, there was, we had talked about the drug court. And at that time, we were told there was no money. Well, come to happen that I ran into Trish Tito up in Alaska and had asked her about that. And nobody had reached out to her from these tribes regarding that. And I was told at that time they have slush funds for this. And that was something that they would support. So I sat for 3 years waiting. Me and Ray have had this discussion. So in the meantime, I'm from the St. Francis community. I'm constantly calling because of all the business that goes around in my neighborhood. In the past year, I think it was, we've had 2 little kids that were killed due to vehicles speeding around. But my biggest complaint is law enforcement not showing up. Nobody answering the 911 calls. Sometimes they don't even answer at dispatch. So those are really frustrating things for community members. And in the meantime, we have non-members that are coming here and are living amongst our people. But yet, they have more freedoms and more rights than the tribal members do. So my thing is, when will we do another banishment? There's people here that live on the lands here that have bought homes. So does this non-member live on their land? And we have tribal members here that can't even get a home or a home site. But we're accommodating these people. everybody knows that everything goes on after midnight here. And it's not good. So for the safety of community members and the little kids, we do need something done here. And my thing is, when will we start the drug court again? Or when is that going to be an option? There's a lot of things going on with the courthouse. There's domestic violence cases that have never been heard. These victims have been told that these cases were given to an outside judge, but these victims were never notified. So those are some real concerns here, and I'd like to see something done. I got here to bash law enforcement. I'm just asking that. Get somebody to answer that phone. When you're calling the PD or you're calling 911, that means you're in crisis. You need help. So if nobody's answering, then who do you call then? We're going to start texting Steve Denoyer, calling him up, waking him up. Where's your police officers? So those are some things, but that drug court and the banishment on the non-tribal members, those are some things that really need to be discussed and some action needs to be taken on them. Because these non-members are bringing things here that are not a part of our, it's not a way of our life here. So thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon. Deirdre asked if we could break for lunch. Do we have more for law enforcement? If we don't, we can, I guess we can adjourn. I think we're through our agenda. Is there more for Steve or Ivor that we need to talk about here? Ben?
I'm curious here, the technical part of it, because we went to bring in a chief of police, I think that was another thing, also lieutenant, so, I mean, I guess the grade, as we asked this morning, that was technical, I guess, for the motion that passed. I'm not sure, I'm kind of confused ourselves. I mean, I want to make it clear, and at least an understanding, that's the technical assistance that we're looking for. The reason why I am kind of putting it out there is because, again, too, the public needs to be aware of what's going on, I mean, especially if there's a crisis that's happening, and we need to be able to let them know. I mean, so those are things that I would make sure that we're clear on, is that, we're not getting rid of you guys. I don't know where that came from. I don't know, and that's what I'm saying too. But to assist you guys is what we're trying to do, to help you, to encourage, more I guess, assistance up there and stuff. So the chief and also lieutenant, I think, was addressed, I think. But so that's what I'm kind of wondering, is that's what's going to happen? Because again, like I said, once we leave this room here, everybody's it's taken care of, everything's going to go. But I want to be clear so that way the public's aware of what's happening. Because I mean, yeah, it's still out there. What was talked about maybe yesterday of some sort. So I just want to make it clear. I mean, that's what I see. That's what I was looking at, was the chief and lieutenant, I think, just so we can come in here to, I mean, experience. I know Ivor's had some experience. Steve, you had some experience in law enforcement. But again, I'm just concerned about if another thing happens where the state or even the federal major crimes come up again too, and they're harboring here down here on the Rosebud. What are we doing? How are we going to take care of it? What's the deal? I mean, we have a, what do you call it, a task force that could come out and look for him, I think, because everybody already knows when all those little jeeps going all over the place, something's happening, I mean, all the cops are going something's happening, another drug bust, or, they start assuming a bunch of other things, so, but I just want to make sure we're clear on that, so that way when we do move on, we can actually, I guess let the people know that we are trying to look out for the best, the public safety and also the safety of the law enforcement too, so that's what I want to make clear, that's the question I had, so, I mean, I don't know.
So I kind of get two different things, from what you're saying and what Dara is saying. Dara asked where we needed help, so we told them.
Yeah.
But with what you're saying is, if we have another situation like this, what are we going to do? That plan is already in place. There's an extradition in the law and order code, but that's a process, and it still asks for an MOU with the agency.
Yeah, I had. Okay. I had asked for the help for a chief of police and a lieutenant, because we're the only PD in the Indian country that don't have a chief of police. And if you look at every other city, town, reservation, they have a chief of police. And usually the lieutenant is there to back him up to do these administrative processes, like applying for the grants, the funding, all of that. So, you know, I just see that your guys' need is so great that you could use help. You know, I didn't expect you to come in here and, you know, get aggressive. I didn't expect that. I didn't even know that someone told you I tried to fire you because that was false, absolutely false.
I found out right away. I called Lila.
And so, you know, those rumors, you need to tell whoever told you that they're a liar. And you should have called me because I made the motion. But you know, today when you came in, you know, that was very disrespectful. And it's okay because I understand your anger, but I didn't do nothing to upset you. I asked for help for my people.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Can we hear from the acting superintendent? Mr. Hart.
What you said, the request needs to go from the tribal president to the District 1 DeBarge, is that his name?
Yeah.
Oh. So that's the route that it needs to go to. And then there's a question on the fish and game. Since they're out of two different programs, you might need to talk with Mr. DeBarge on how that will work from what some of my self-determination staff mentioned. Okay. I just want to clarify that it's not coming to the agency, and it's going from the tribal president straight to District 1.
Ben?
Okay, I just want to make sure, yeah, thank you for clearing that up there, Ray. So that's why I want to make clear, so that way when the chairman does send that up there, they know what's going on. Otherwise, so if they look at it, if they come on the desk, they're going to say, well, technical assistance, what is that? Where do they mean? You know what I mean? So it may go along. So you can make clear what we need, so that way, you know, again, they go on enforcement and have an idea what's happening and stuff. So that's the reason why I wanted to make it sure before we go loose with it again. Right now, technical assistance, what does that mean? What do we do? You know, so that's why I'm saying I wasn't clear. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ivor,
Just real quick, and Emily?
when we talk about chief of police, and we talk about this lieutenant, but I just want to make it clear, within the bureau, they don't have, a lieutenant, basically what we call a sergeant here, it's the equivalent. So when you call for a lieutenant is basically someone that's working the road. They don't have an administrative purpose within the BIA. So just my deal is if you clarify for a chief of police, then make it so, but you're gonna be calling down a frontline supervisor from the bureau if you include the lieutenant. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just making you aware of it. The lieutenant is a frontline supervisor. That's all they do. They have no administrative duties within the bureau. So basically, you're gonna be calling on the sergeant, or are you looking for a frontline supervisor, technical assistance as well? So you need to clarify on the lieutenant and the chief of police. So that's just my good.
Emily?
So I asked a question earlier and I didn't really get answered. So I think it's kind of the same, along the same lines. It's like, what is our ask? Because I think we have the motion that passed and that is very specific on what type of technical assistance you're asking for. But after hearing from Steve and Ivor, I heard more need as far as like, if lieutenant isn't the correct word, then maybe we need to specify administrative staff. Because in my mind, we need somebody that's overseeing the grants and somebody that's overseeing the actual management and the office and how, not just the law enforcement aspect of it. And so if we can clarify that, I think that'd be great. But then again, what I asked earlier is about this drug task force. And so I think that was a very apparent immediate need. And so can that somehow be included in that ask that we're doing? Or does that need to be a separate thing? Or does that need to be discussed? And I'm only asking because it gets brought up quite often from community to even at this body. So if I could get clarification on that. And then I do have one more comment that I'd like to make after that regarding kind of trust and confidentiality and executive session and things like that. So I wanted to make a comment there, but I'd like clarification on this first, if possible.
I think the drug task force request could be part of the technical assistance. Could it be?
Yep. That would come from a request from the chairman.
So we could just work with Scott on clarifying that language of what our intent is, what we're doing. Okay.
What's your second question?
My second question wasn't really a question, it's just a comment. Maybe I'll find a question. There's that box. You know how I go. No, but I just wanted to bring it up because we have all the parties here and when we're talking about some of these things, and we're talking about, you know, making tough decisions and the position that we're in, you can't make everybody happy, like, I think we're all understanding of that. But I think if there's a way that I can make a comment about what happened with the most recent thing, you know, there's a lot of trust that our people put in us, not only as leadership, but as law enforcement. And so if we're not able to trust our own processes that we have, I think that there's something wrong with that. And so the other day, after, you know, uproar and, you know, all of these things, there were some people that weren't at a meeting. And so we went into executive session to answer some questions that couldn't be on the air. One of those questions couldn't be answered in the room, so we asked somebody to call the PD to get clarification. No action was taken, nothing was gonna be done, we just had some questions from people who weren't there and needed clarification on it. That same evening, I go to a community meeting, and Steve is there talking to the community about that same thing. That was done in the executive session with no action, with nothing on there. And then again, yesterday, or the day before, whenever we had housing, again, it was brought up more than once, hinting at whatever was discussed in there. And so it's hard for me as, you know, being in this position and being new, but I was already asking questions about, can I be prepared, what I can talk to, what I can say, what, you know, because you all know I was having difficulty holding back on those knowledge that it was affecting our community safety anyway. So to go into meetings with law enforcement and hear that it's almost like feeding the, you know, fueling the fire between our people and our leadership as far as there is distrust and chipping away at that rather than building it up and working together. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was very disrespectful and probably borderline illegal for whatever our question that was asked in executive session to an officer for it to get to another officer and then to these different meetings. I think there was a breakdown in that whole process. So again, that rose at the trust, but it also rose at the whole, you know, you take an oath of office, all of us do it. So I just wanted to address that. It's respect and professionalism. Thank you.
So Eagle Bear had a really good term for that. Loose lips. That's what you call it.
But how do you accountable? You guys are law enforcement officers. You're the ones with the slits.
It didn't come.
It came from you.
It came from this body. How did I hear about it?
Exactly. You're an officer. The only other person who knew about it.
We weren't a part of that when you guys were talking about rescinding that.
So why was it brought
That was
up?
a phone call that I received.
So why was it brought up, and why are we painting this picture of distrust within our own people? We didn't make an action.
It was mentioned to me that that's what was gonna happen.
So why was it forwarded on in this way? In this
You don't
manner?
know what was told to me?
No, I don't. I want to
Okay.
know why that was happening.
Because I guess it's my answer is you guys need to get it done because this is probably gonna get rescinded at your next meeting. So there was a rush.
But that didn't happen.
For
It was
us.
false. So you're basing your decision off of false
I
claims.
trust you guys. I trust you guys.
Lila and Chris?
Excuse me. I just wanted to make it clear that the MOU, right, is still in effect. The people need to know that the MOU is still in effect. We have not rescinded it as of today. We're really put in a tough position when things like that happen. Really tough. I got chewed out all kinds of ways, you know, and I listened to all of that and I understand. But you know, our people are tired of being bullied. They're tired of being scared. Every community is different. You know, I was just talking to Charles. They have their own issues way out there. You know, Dara has her issues and they're right in town. You know, I noticed the difference in St. Francis now too. It seems like it's a little bit better. We haven't had nothing burning. You know, and my fears are, I don't want to lose people. And you know, it's really hard because we cannot be harboring these people who go and take a life. And that worries me. It's scary. And you know, having to do this MOU, you know, it put everybody in a really hard position, you know, because that's the only way we could reach out. But you know, we haven't discussed the rescinding of the motion yet. It may or may not happen, we don't know yet. But I really want to commend council today for standing and, you know, working on this and having our own people here and our own programs here, because you know what, we gotta communicate. We have to communicate. And it bothers me when you guys don't have the help you need, you know, especially with ACF.
But I'm not gonna say that here.
So, you know, those are the things that I want to see. And especially right now too, you know, as people are recovering and they're sobering up and they're coming out of, you know, that, they eat. And Melissa always has issues with food. It shouldn't be like that, you know, if somebody's hungry, like put away, you know, give them food. And, you know, if you have problems with that, Melissa, we need to know so we can find a way to help you. You know, it's been tough. Do you have anything to share with that?
No, just with our, and I'll be real quickly. With our food, we should not have to pay for food. BIA needs to pay for it. We have plenty of revenue. 100% of our revenue goes to food. If you see some of our book-in pictures when people first come in and when they leave, they gain weight. There's no issues with food. My concern is why is the tribe paying for food? When BIA has a trust obligation to, you house this person and we're gonna give you food money, but they don't. So that's my concern. We have money, we have revenue, we have plenty of money to pay for food, and we don't, that's one of the areas we don't follow BIA's strict rules. Because if we did, each inmate would get a little tiny thing. We don't do that. And so far, the tribe supported us and said, yeah, you don't need to follow that one rule. Go ahead and feed them and go off the menu and give them, you know, a little bit more. So yeah, no, we don't have any issues. It's just they should pay for it.
And we need to focus on that, and we need to make sure and ask for reimbursement for all the food they've been paying for. And I don't know, can you get us something showing maybe within the last 3 years maybe?
Yep, and that's one area that the local agency can offset because it doesn't involve any, and just to let you guys know that only our contract can pay for our staff, and same with these guys because they're federal officers. So even if the tribe gave us a little bit of money, we can't put it in staffing because it has to be funneled through our contract as a federal officer, right? So when I request every year from local agency their leftover money, I say this is how much our food costs. I need this. They have never funded us. So I continuously send those even to budget and finance. So yeah, I will. SRD did give us 20,000 of their leftover ARPA, and it took about 6 months for them to help us offset that. But we have our own revenue. We have money. I just wish that they can pay for it and kind of help us with that.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that clarified. Thank you.
Chris, did you need to?
Yeah, I guess when I was just unaware of the conversation that's happening, it's a little embarrassing whenever we argue with each other on TV too, you know? Whenever we ask simple questions. But we're done with Steve. I think you can go now. If that's all it is.
Thank you guys. We do really appreciate the fast acting that you guys did last week because we could have still been in the same situation. So thank you guys. If it needs to be changed, it's just a resolution. The MOU says you can do away with it anytime. So if it needs to be changed, now's the time to review it. Those kind of situations don't happen all the time, but it's good to be prepared, like Ben said. Before I leave, there's one issue that we really have a problem with, and it's really a gray area. That's dogs. I don't know. I think all communities have problems with dogs, but there needs to be some direction there on what we can do or Game Fish can do on trying to control that before somebody gets killed. And I don't want to get into something that drastic either when we could easily have taken action now. So thank you guys, and anything else, please give me a call. if there's something questionable in our program. Yeah. He doesn't answer, so I'm bothered.
Ben, did you guys discuss that, the dog issue yet? No, not yet, right? Well, remember when I brought it up in February, it was weird, heard about it too. Judicial. I think there might be.
Mr. Is that everything we have today?
Yes, maybe. I know. Yeah.
You spoke first, so I defended myself. Big difference. Thank you.
Bye.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Motion to adjourn? Second?
Question? Okay, all in favor, to adjourn?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Opposed?
0.
Not voting? 1.
Good job,
Who
counsel.
is here?
Good job, Tina. Good job.
Put your hammer down. A little sign of the time thing on